field to meet a genuine CFL character. It's the rookie Beckman and the elder statesman of football, Faragelli.
From all of us at the Canadian football
CFL season began Friday in Winnipeg with the Bombers dominating the Argos on defense. Saturday night at BC Place, the Ottawa Rough Riders ended a three-game losing streak. David Williams with one of their touchdowns, and yesterday turnovers helped the Calgary Stampeders beat the Saskatchewan Rough Riders at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The Blue Bombers now have a 4-point lead on Toronto in the race for first in the East. Hamilton and Ottawa fighting for third. And in the West, the Calgary Stampeders have gotten themselves to within 1 point of the first-place Eskimos. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our CFN telecast from Hamilton, and happy Thanksgiving to you all. Edmonton Eskimo coach Joe Faragelli will be thankful today if his team can bounce back from a loss to Winnipeg 10 days ago and restore their 3-point lead over second-place Calgary in the West. And David Beckman, the coach of the Ticats, will be thankful if they can get him his first win as interim head coach and move back into a tie for third place with Ottawa for that final playoff spot in the CFL East. It's an emotional day for one player on the field. Neil Lumsden has more on that.
For 8 years, Mike Walker wore the number 61 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and in that time period, he established himself as one of the very best to play the position in the CFL. But things do change. The number doesn't change, but the city has changed. Off-season, you became a free agent. You're now an Edmonton Eskimo. How does it feel coming back in here, specifically this dugout, where you sat a number of times?
Yeah, I've been in this dugout for 8 years. And it's going to be weird being on the other end. I always wonder what the other locker room looked like, too, and it's just killing me. It's just too much, you know. I just hope I can go out with a straight head and play good football today.
How would it get in your way? How would it bother you? Can you not put the excitement aside? And I know a lot of familiar faces you're going to be playing across from.
It was hard, you know, because last night I had dinner with Grover, and it's going to be weird not playing right beside him. And, you know, I just can't picture myself on the other end of the bench, you know, and all these guys I know I've been around for a while. It's just going to be weird playing against them. It's just too much.
Well, have yourself a good game, and I hope you don't get too excited about it.
Thanks.
All right, Mike.
It has been 49 days since Walker's old team, the Ticats' last tasted victory. Mike Kerrigan leading them to a last-minute win in BC, and they'll need a good performance from Kerrigan if they are to upset the Eskimos today. Hamilton and Edmonton are next on the Canadian Football Network.
This CFN game is an exclusive presentation of Sport OV, OV Real Life Beer. And Priority Courier, the official courier of the CFL.
Hi, my name's Sam Lux. I play for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. On behalf of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, I wish everybody in Canada, all the football fans, a happy Thanksgiving.
I'm Jordan Gartner of the Edmonton Eskimos. On behalf of the Eskimos, I wish all the football fans across Canada a happy Thanksgiving.
CFL Priority Courier Player of the Week. The lineman player for week number 12 is BC's Jim Mills. BC's offensive line ensured the Lions delivered over land and through the air in the 34-4 triumph over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Tackle Jim Mills put his hulking 6'8", 280-pound frame to awesome use, helping the Lions rush for 209 yards, pass for 238 yards, and limit the Tiger Cats to 1 sack. Jim Mills, CFL Priority Courier Lineman Player of the Week.
Well, the Edmonton Eskimos have really dominated the Hamilton Tiger Cats in recent meetings. The Eskimos have won 18 of the last 21 games these teams have played. This will be the first time David Beckman coaches against Edmonton for the Ticats, only his second game since succeeding Al Bruno, and Neely has a pretty good feeling about the way his team will respond today.
Well, he's very enthusiastic. He was last week, but he also understands there is some change in the team, and change oftentimes can cause confusion and some breakdowns, and he hopes that isn't the case.
Colberg with the opening kickoff from Osbaldiston, and he runs it back to the 37, a 12-yard return as Osbaldiston kicked it off 54 yards. Tracy Ham coming off the worst game of his professional career against Winnipeg 10 days ago.
Yet you asked Joe Faragelli about it, did he play poorly? And he said, no, he didn't play that badly. We just did a lot of things that weren't as good as we normally can do them and up to snuff for us. And you never can point your finger at one guy, though I'm sure everyone knows as Tracy Ham goes, so goes the Eskimos.
Edmonton Eskimos are plagued with injuries coming into this game, and we'll talk about that as we go along. And there's an injury to an Edmonton player. Darrell Colbert, the man who returned the opening kickoff. Ferragelli wasn't quite sure what to expect from Hamilton today. He said it's a situation similar to when they played the BC Lions after Larry Kuharich had been fired and Jim Young was their coach for one game, and the Lions gave the Eskimos everything they wanted that night.
Well, coaches and players have the benefit of watching plenty of game tape, and they get to learn and understand what other teams are doing and individual characteristics. But it's the same as a head coach. I mean, he knows nothing about them.
Reggie Taylor and Gizmo Williams out of the Edmonton lineup today. Joe Ferragelli has thoughts on that.
Well, I think in the case of Giz, we've been practicing fair catches. You know, I don't know if they're going to let us do it or not. But, you know, we lose quality guy there that really helps us with field position, special teams, puts a lot of pressure on the opposing team. In the case of Reggie, you know, we have a guy that potentially can break a play anytime he touches the ball. So we lose two big play type guys. But, you know, that's the way it is. I mean, that happens in football. It happens in everything you do. Our message to our guys is I expect somebody to come up and, you know, I expect the offensive line to block a little bit harder so that our other backs can pick up more yards than they normally would, or somebody put on a hellacious block to spring Todd Smith or Colbert. And someone has to rise to the occasion to pick up the slack, and I have confidence that we will.
Brian Walling, one of the men the Eskimos will count on to fill the shoes of Reggie Taylor, and he starts off with a good game.
Well, if he continues to run the football like that and he gets the help of his offensive linemen, and he has holes like that to run through, he may duplicate the kind of game he had against Calgary in week number 10 where he rushed for 98 yards. He may even surpass that.
Reggie Taylor is out for the season. He had knee surgery. He's been bothered by a knee injury for the last month. They finally scoped it and found ligament damage, so he's gone for the year. Second down and just over a yard. Blake Marshall off the right side, and he gets 3 or 4, and we'll have a first down. Tracy Ham, of course, at quarterback with Marshall and Walling starting in the backfield. Souls is also going to play. Sinkar and Ellis the slots. Colbert and Wright the wide receivers with Todd Smith, a designated imported wide receiver. In the offensive line, Blake Dermott is back at left tackle. Todd Storm played there in the last game, but Dermott goes back, and Andrew McConnell starts at right guard. He was injured the last time they played. First and 10 Eskimos at their 47. Flags are down. Tracy Ham actually quit on the play. Now they blow it dead as the referee had not stopped play. Tracy Ham had quit, though, and so had the Hamilton tacklers, and they finally whistled it down.
Well, as soon as Hamilton infringed in that 1 yard, Rod Conop snapped the ball. He felt Tracy Ham was underneath him and ready to take the football, but as you said, no one blew a whistle. Lots of flags came up, but everyone stopped.
Ticats appeared to be offside. Hamilton has lost 6 games in a row. The last time they won was the 20th of August. That's a long time ago. Nobody could have envisioned this Hamilton team losing 6 straight. Their personnel is better than that, but it's all fallen apart on them.
We have no penalty on the play. We had a crowd whistle in the crowd, caused the players to stop. Repeat first down.
It's like it never happened. What a mystery.
Carry on. So, first and 10 again. Eskimos from their 46. Handoff. Marshall in the middle. Spins away from one Ticat. The ball comes loose. And the Eskimos got it back. So they'll hold on to the ball. Well, it's a damp, miserable day in Hamilton. 8 degrees Celsius, a little windy. And it's not really raining hard, but there's a light mist that's been coming down just about all day long. So it's not a real nice day. Darrell Colbert had his bell rung on the opening kickoff, and he'll be back in the game. 1 yard gain for the Eskimos. It'll be 2nd and 9. The ball's at their 48-yard line. We're just underway at Ivor Wynn. Tracy Ham back to pass, flushed out of the pocket, but lots of room to run. Into Hamilton territory down at the 52-yard line. A first down, though, for the Eskimos. Bobby Dawson, defensive halfback, came up to make the tackle.
Well, if the offensive line of the Eskimos can collapse the defensive line Tracy Ham will take that. Look at number 50, Blake Dermott. He folds down. He takes away that corner. Ham releases very quickly when he sees nothing downfield, and it's wide open.
That puts Ham over 700 yards rushing on the season as they throw a hitch screen on first down. They rule it an incomplete pass. Craig Ellis, the intended receiver. Stephen Jordan was one of the Hamilton defensive players there to break it up.
Talking with Dave Beckman before the game, he figures that to play Tracy Ham, you can't play the spy technique. What you have to do is have fresh legs, and he's dressed a lot more defensive players than normal, and he's going to rotate people in and out of there.
Second down, Ham over the middle. There's a flag on the play. The pass complete down to the Hamilton 42 to Ellis, close to a first down, but we do have a penalty flag. They have 2 extra defensive linemen dressed, Neil, to rotate in there and keep those fresh legs to chase Tracy Ham.
And 3 linebackers. They start 3, and they've got 3 backups. That helps your position on special teams. You'd like to have that. But I think where they suffer, as he agreed, is the offensive line. They've only have 1 backup offensive lineman, and that's Ray Robertus. He does long
Offside,
snaps.
number 23, 93. Penalty is declined. Second down.
Romel Andrews was offside, but the Eskimos, rather than take the penalty, will take the 9-yard gain. It'll be third down and less than a yard to go at the Ticat 42.5-yard line. And the Eskimos will go for it. And off right side, Marshall puts his head down, gets to the 40, and he has the Edmonton first down. Blake Marshall, 380 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns on the season.
And I'll bet you not one of those yards came easily.
Now, they don't come easily for him, and they don't come easily for the defense either, because you pay for it when you try to tackle Blake Marshall. No bargain bringing him down. Eskimos, first possession of the game, and they've moved the ball into Hamilton territory. First and 10 at the 40. Ham sprinting left, getting time, and now he breaks up that hole and is pulled down at the 33-yard line. Romel Andrews makes the stop, but Tracy Ham has a gain of 6, maybe 7 yards.
Tracy Ham rolls out, and he is very dangerous, but as a linebacker drops deep, as Daryl Corbin does, he has to mirror with the quarterback and his movement. And you're going to watch Corbin. It's almost like looking at Tracy Ham, only the opposite. And Tracy Ham pulls back of throwing the football because of Corbin's movement. You see that stop right there? He was ready for that throw.
Draw play to Blake Marshall on second down and 3, and he has the first down to the Ticat 26-yard line.
And I think as the weather changes all across the country, we're going to see players like, especially Marshall, Chris Johnstone, and Michael Souls get more work in that Eskimo offense.
Hurry up offense again from Edmonton. Ham sprinting out right, gets around the contain to the 20 and steps out of bounds at the 19, maybe the 18-yard line of Hamilton. 4.5 minutes have been used up already by the Eskimos in this drive. Tracy Ham last week was 7 out of 18 in the passing department for 61 yards. Hard to imagine he could have a game like that. That's a tribute to how well Winnipeg played defensively, but I think you also have to include the fact that Tracy Ham was not playing his A game. This is the 11th play of this drive. Marshall up the middle, big room to the 10 and down to the 6 for another Edmonton first down.
Marshall's hitting that offensive line very quickly. The offensive lineman, McConnell, caught up right in there, giving him that gap, and you don't need much. He weaves his way through there. See how low his shoulders and his helmet are? He's ready to take anybody on, because when he's down like that, he can't be stopped with one hit.
First and goal from the 6-yard line, and it was nearly picked off. Frank Robinson was in a position on the goal line to intercept that ball. Robinson came out of retirement to rejoin the Ticats this year. He didn't think he'd have to go through anything like this. Second and goal. Ham has a man all alone, and he has a touchdown to Brian Walling.
A Hamilton miscue in the secondary. There's 2 receivers to that one side of the field, and Walling simply comes out into the flat. No one checks off. It's to our left. He even starts to veer up, but he doesn't have to because he's open anyways.
Well, a very impressive drive to start the game for the Ticats, or for the Eskimos, pardon me. 13 plays, 78 yards. The scoring play at the 5-minute, 11-second mark of the opening quarter. Ray McAreedy adds the convert, and the Eskimos have jumped out in front at Iverwin Stadium on Thanksgiving Day. Edmonton Eskimos are 8-1 this season when they score first. Not good news for Hamilton as McAreedy kicks off to McAdoo at the 20-yard line. Derek McAdoo across the 30 to the 35 and to the 37 as he carries a couple of Eskimos the last 5 yards. A 16-yard return by Derek McAdoo. Well, Mike Kerrigan, Neil, has had a tough year, as those numbers, especially the last one, would indicate.
But I'll look back to last week when they were playing in Toronto, and I think earlier on in the season, the way the Ticats had started, Mike Kerrigan would have been pulled out of that game. But David Beckman said, in fact, he will leave Kerrigan in, and I think leaving him in allowed him to get back into the game and start to produce, and we saw the Mike Kerrigan of old for a while last week.
Here's a reverse, and they give it back to Kerrigan, who throws it back to Estelle, and all that serves to gain them no yards, but it kind of looked good.
Yeah, it looked good until he had to throw the ball short. I think Edmonton was able to take that play away deep. The defensive backs did not come up, did not bite on the sweep or the reverse. And you see Kerrigan looking deep to those receivers he sends, Winfield and Champion, but there was nothing there.
He had Champion down the right side of the field, but he was well covered. I believe Kerrigan looked there for a second and then opted to take the safe way out of it. They lose a yard, 2nd and 11 from the 36-yard line. Quick throw. We'll see a lot of that from Kerrigan, intended for Lee Knight, but the pass was a little bit low. And the Hamilton offense, which has really struggled, but showed some signs of life in the second half in Toronto last week, will leave the field, and Osbaldiston and the kicking team come out.
Well, that's when the blitz works for you, when you can make your quarterback throw just a hair soon. Kerrigan had what he wanted. He had the middle linebacker gone in the blitz with Danny Bass and the slot back to the inside with outside coverage. So as far as execution goes, everything went fine except for the catch, or the no catch.
Osbaldiston will be kicking into the wind, and a low kick. It's a good one. Bounces to the 37-yard line. Colbert is up to the 44 of the Eskimos. You're watching Molson Canadian Football Network. I guess those people reflect the attitude of Hamilton fans right now with the 6-game losing streak. Cole, show us. Show me. 7-0 Eskimos, 8:21 left. First quarter, Edmonton with the ball for the second time in the game. They start from their 27. They had a holding penalty on the punt return by Colbert. The toss to Walling, right side. Spins away from the first Hamilton tacklers and is able to gain 5 yards across the 30 to the 32 or 33.
Well, we've talked about Blake Marshall carrying the ball and how he can deliver a blow, but you also get the same opportunity as a running back when you lead block, and here's a great collision. Marshall out on Giftopoulos, and see how he positions himself after the hit? He puts his back to the running play.
Tracy Ham again with a hurry-up offense. Dumps it out here to Craig Ellis, and it's complete, and it'll get the Eskimos a first down at their 39-yard line.
Bob, we look back at that last drive of 13 plays for the touchdown, or that ended in a touchdown for Edmonton. Out of that, they had 62 yards rushing, and I think you hear coaches talk about balance. You can get that kind of yardage in a drive. You've got some balance.
First down handoff, Marshall, and he runs into the arms of Grover Covington, and the Ticat defense stops the run on that play. Covington, the 34-year-old veteran, with Romel Andrews, Napier Kowski, and Tim Lorenz back on the defensive line. Corbin, Robinson, and Giftopoulos. And they've had a lot of different linebackers. Those are the 3 best. And Gordon replaces injured Jim Rockford at safety. Albert Thomas makes his Hamilton debut on the corner. Second down and 9. Ham away and throws complete up to the 52-yard line. Moving back is Keith Wright to the 48 of Edmonton, and I think he took himself out of the first down.
Mike, you're right. He came back. Tracy Ham starts to roll. You can see Keith Wright. See him right there settle down? Just to the left side. finds that spot where the linebackers are running to and the halfbacks are trying to get to. But he steps back, and
he was actually at the 51, and he went all the way back to the 48. It's third down and a yard and a half for the Eskimos at their 48, and they'll go for it. Hand off left side, Marshall, and he drives across the 50 and picks up the first down. So Joe Ferraghelli showing a lot of confidence early in his team's ability to run, and why not after what he's watched already in the first quarter.
Coming right at you, you can see the offensive lineman. Dermott comes off, takes Robinson. You don't need to give your back in this situation much room, but you do have to give him an opportunity to get going straight ahead.
That was the 9th first down of the quarter for the Edmonton Eskimos. Flags are down as Ham throws a deep downfield intended for Sinkar, tipped away by Stephen Jordan. Penalty flags on the play. So the Eskimos are doing to Hamilton what Winnipeg did to them in their last game, and that's just holding on to the ball in the first quarter, establishing the tempo of the game.
Legal procedure. Edmonton number 50. Penalties declined. Second down.
Blake Dermott called for a legal procedure. Declined. It'll be 2nd and 10. Eskimos at their 51-yard line. They lead 7-0 as Tracy Ham throws it complete to Walling. He's hit hard at center field. Gary Wilkerson moves up and limits the gain to 4 yards.
Wilkerson giving the impression he drops back in his coverage that Walling is open, and in fact, he is open in that flat, but he's not open for long.
Wilkerson, a rookie from Penn State, who's had an outstanding season, one of the bright spots for the Ticats, who sit at 4-9. You know, when they were 4-3, Neil, after they won that game in BC in the last minute, 36-34, there's no way you could have ever guessed that they would come unglued the way they have and lose 6 in a row. McAreedy's punt. Winfield on the run at the 25-yard line, and he is down at the 30 of the Ticats. 5:23 left in the first quarter. Edmonton up by 7. .23 left in the first quarter at Ivor Wynne Stadium on a cool, wet day. Hamilton Ticats have the football for the second time. They start from their 30-yard line. Kerrigan, the toss to Derek McAdoo, and he can't get outside. Leroy Blue moves up and makes a terrific defensive play. Blue is on that defensive line with Brett Williams, Mike Walker, and Stu Hill, and that is the strength and where it all starts with this defense. And it's not bad in the middle either with Bass, Ruck, and Braswell. And then the secondary is pretty good. Gooch and Francis have had outstanding years, according to Joe Ferraghelli. And boy, was Mike Walker ever nervous.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, huh?
First game back in Hamilton.
I bet you that's gone.
6-yard loss, 2nd and 16 from their 29. A quick pass intercepted by Mathis, intended for Estelle, but it was thrown to Mark Mathis. And interceptions, turnovers in general have just killed the Ticats this year, and they do again.
Linebackers are coming. Everyone in that secondary is gone. That's open. But Estelle makes the mistake. He comes behind Mathis. Kerrigan makes the read. There's no linebacker there. You throw the ball to the inside. Here they come. Here's Bass, Braswell. They're all there. But Estelle has to continue on to the inside to protect his quarterback so that doesn't happen.
Well, they will tell us, Neil, that many of the interceptions Kerrigan has thrown this year have been a result of mistakes by receivers. And there was another one. Tracy Ham spreading left, throws, and it's no good. Intended for Marco Sinkar, Giftopoulos, and Nibierkowski in pursuit of Tracy Ham. But the Ticats have just been dreadful in that giveaway, takeaway category. They are -25. That's the worst record in the league. They've been intercepted 36 times, which again is the most in the CFL. 2nd and 10 Eskimos from the Hamilton 34. Ticats do a pretty good job of containing Ham, but his tremendous speed enables him to get around the corner, and he goes out of bounds at the 27-yard line, which is 3 or 4 away from a first down.
Well, Tracy Ham's natural abilities are usually the things that beat defenses. You can cover receivers and you can stop the running game, but when you have a quarterback with this ability, you can have the outside not there and then take it away from a defense as he does there. Grover Covington's well upfield, probably in the right position to be able to stop Ham to do that, but Ham has the quickness to be able to get around to the outside and still hurt you.
And probably thought he had Ham, but didn't. Tremendous athletic ability of Tracy Ham. Eskimos will attempt a field goal on 3rd and about 3.5, a 34-yarder. The ball is down. McAreedy has it up and through, and the Eskimos increase their lead to 10-0 with 3 minutes and 34 seconds left in the first quarter. Ray McAreedy was discovered, if I can use that term, or at least signed by the Eskimos when Joe Ferragelli and Bruce Lemmerman came here to Hamilton in February during a cold, snowy day and had McAreedy do some kicking for them. They liked what they saw. They signed him, and he won the job.
A perfect time of year to audition for the kicker. February in Hamilton. There's only one good thing about that. It was artificial turf he was kicking.
Well, a lot of turmoil here in Hamilton, of course. We asked Earl Winfield to comment on the coaching situation with the Ticats.
Well, you know, as players, we really don't have any decision in the decision-making process as far as who's fired and who's hired. Coach Beckman, he's come in with a positive attitude. He's got all the guys thinking positive. You know, we need some morale around here, and I think he's building everybody's morale so that we can go out and play a tough football game.
Derek McAdoo returns the kickoff up to the 40-yard line. It has to be a tough situation for everybody involved. David Beckman, Neil told us he'd like to put some new things in and do some things differently, but you just don't have time to get things put in.
No, and it's a tough job for him to step in. Like you say, he has his beliefs on how things should be done. He says maybe the #1 thing is try to take some of the pressure off of Mike Kerrigan as far as making the decisions and when certain plays should be called. He says Kerrigan needs more support, and he plans to do that.
24-yard return by Derek McAdoo, and the pass is complete to Earl Winfield up to the 50, and the Ticats are close to what would be their first down of the game.
Well, Joe Ferragelli had mentioned we're going to see the two corners, Keith Gooch and Andre Francis, squat at 5 yards on Winfield and Champion, which means they're not going to play off them. They're going to give them that 5 yards to win the ball snap, and they're going to come up real tight and stay as close to them as long as they can.
Gooch was very close to Winfield on that one, but it did get Hamilton a first down. From their 50, Kerrigan again, that 3-step drop. He has Winfield again at the 40. He's to the 30. Earl Winfield down to the 15, into the 14-yard line. Danny Bass came all the way back to make the tackle.
Well, that's a great pass by Mike Kerrigan. You're going to see where the ball comes in. Winfield slows down a little bit here. Larry Ruck slips. Ruck starts to move when the ball goes, but he goes down. Winfield keeps going, as you can see. It's dangerous when he gets the ball. If not for good hustle by Danny Bass and a 2-point takedown, Winfield would score.
19, David Shelton is in the secondary of the Eskimos for Mark Mathis, who got his bell rung a little bit. A 48-yard gain, first down from the 12. Kerrigan into the end zone looking for Winfield, but he cannot catch up to this one.
Well, that's that coverage by Keith Gooch. You asked Joe Ferragelli about his defense and what has been outstanding for him. He points out, obviously, a number of different situations, but one, he says, Keith Gooch has just been flat out outstanding this year. And that'll make it tough on Kerrigan. Gooch and Francis are as good as anyone in this league when they get up close and tight in coverage.
And they do get up close and tight.
And personal.
Yes, that too. The Eskimo secondary, famous for that. Don't expect them to give you much room. Second down and 10. Ticats, Edmonton 12. Kerrigan to Winfield at the 7. He slips away to the 6. They'll have a gain of 6 yards. The fans, of course, would like David Beckman to go for the touchdown. The wiser move would likely be to kick the field goal, and that's what Beckman will do.
Well, I think when you haven't been behind the bench, or in this case in front of the bench in football for a long time, and this is David Beckman's second game, some decisions have got to be more difficult than others, and I think you might hear the fans more in this case than an experienced coach would.
Osbaldiston has made 82% of his field goals this year. That's tops in the CFL. This is a 14-yard chip shot, and he makes it with 48 seconds left in the opening quarter, and it's now 10-3. The Eskimos leading the Ticats. So Hamilton will draw some encouragement, Neil, from the fact that they were able to move the football on offense and get some points.
Oh, without question. The first time they had the ball, 2 plays and out. The second time, the second play, Mathis picks off an errant pass by Mike Kerrigan. I think that's very encouraging what you see.
Well, when you've lost 6 in a row, your confidence has to be in a state of disarray, and I'm sure that's the case with the Ticats. And anything that can happen to improve that will be good news. David Beckman is the head coach for the second game. Garney Henley, John Salavanis, Ted Schmitz, Joe Moss, and Ben Zambiazzi working with him.
Zambiazzi working with the linebackers, but he's also responsible for the special teams. You saw him just a second ago in a huddle with the kickoff team. There weren't too many played middle linebacker any better than Ben Zambiazzi when he was here in Hamilton. And you know what? He'd still like to play. If they get injuries at linebacker, you can bet he'll be the first one knocking on Beckman's door saying, Coach, I'm ready.
Talked to him earlier in the season, Zambiazzi, and he said he was ready and he was serious about playing if, in fact, they did get into a position where they needed him. This is Todd Smith returning it across the 40 to the 42-yard line. The ball came loose, but the fumble caused when he hit the ground, so the play is dead. A 13-yard return by Todd Smith. Joe Ferragelli and his staff of Gary Durchik, Don Southern, son Mike Ferragelli, Urban Bowman, and Joe Viadella. Gary Durchik handles the offensive line and highly respected.
With the injury to Randy Ambrosian, good news for Edmonton is he hopefully will be back and then when his term is up on the injured list. Last week in the game against Winnipeg, they made 2 changes for 1 injury. They've gone back, put Dermott back to tackle, and McConnell at the guard spot where Ambrosi would normally be and will be again.
From the 42, Ham to throw. He gets some pressure, but fires it to Ellis. He fumbles the ball and then gets it back at the 53-yard line of the Eskimos. That'll be a first down. Bobby Dawson forced the fumble, but Ellis fortunate to get it back.
Well, when Ellis gets some separation and comes back to catch the football, Dawson slips. But Dawson reaches. He intentionally goes for this football when he comes around. A very heads-up play. But not lucky enough, they didn't get the ball back.
And the gain is wiped out because of an illegal procedure penalty against the Eskimos. The ball back at their 37-yard line. This will be the final play of the opening quarter unless there's a penalty. First and 15. And back in the pocket, flushed out. Romel Andrews after him, and he hauls him down back at the 27-yard line. Ticats haven't been able to catch up to Tracy Ham in the first quarter, but they do on the last play. They're down by 7 after 15 minutes at Ivor Wynn. (10-3) Eskimos over Hamilton after the first quarter. The second quarter begins with Edmonton's 2nd down and 25 at their 27-yard line. And the Eskimos will be working into the wind in this quarter.
And in many situations in the past, this is where Tracy Ham kills you.
With his running, but he'll give it to Blake Marshall instead. And on a draw play, he gains 7 or 8 up to the 34 to give Ray McAready a little more room to punt it from. McAready with a 43.3-yard punting average, 2nd in the CFL to Calgary's Brent Mattich.
And now we'll be kicking into that, I wouldn't call it a stiff breeze, but a pretty good breeze, and it seems to be picking up.
Wally Zatilny is back in the Hamilton lineup today, and he's back to return. His punt, his first appearance, and it was nearly blocked, and it's an outstanding kick into the wind. Zatilny at the 36. He's to the 40, the 45, and up to the 47-yard line. You know, they've had a lot of injury problems here in Hamilton this year, and the loss of Zatilny was one of the more costly ones.
Hamilton feels they can go after McAready. Actually, specifically, Dave Beckman said that he was going to try to get Mark Dennis, that rookie linebacker, in. But this time it's not Dennis. But what a great effort laying out for the football by number 27, Bob Dawson.
Terrific punt by McAready, 41 yards into the wind. Zatilny brought it back 11. Ticats from there, 46.5, 1st and 10. There's a toss to McAdoo, and Larry Ruck was there to meet him, but McAdoo broke the tackle and picked up a first down to the Edmonton 48-yard line.
Well, if that kind of run doesn't crank up the people on the bench that are watching it and the rest of the team that had the benefit of watching it, Ruck makes a great play right at the line of scrimmage. Whack! Knocks him back, but McAdoo, look at the feet. They keep going. Ruck comes up. This is just a great effort.
I was about to do a testimonial to Larry Ruck, and what a terrific play that was, and it was. But what a great play by McAdoo to stay on his feet and get a first down to the Edmonton 49. Kerrigan throws it long down the sideline for Tony Champion, but he is nowhere near catching it.
Well, Dave Beckman said some of the things he wanted to do offensively and change, and we might not see them this afternoon, but in the weeks to come, is the running game. Quick hitting running plays. He wants to be able to hit those seams. Feels that with the Ticats haven't taken advantage of their abilities to get in those seams. And you've got an offensive line. I mean, they've got some beef up there. If they can get that beef going forward and pushing people back, you have to think they could run the football.
Talked about putting 2 plays in this week that he really likes, but he wants to put a lot more of his material in. As Kerrigan throws on second down, Winfield was open as Gooch had fallen on the play, but Kerrigan overthrew him. And that's the kind of year it's been for Hamilton, particularly in the last 6 weeks. So on 3rd and 10, we'll see Paul Osbaldiston, who I think is lining up to attempt a long field goal. He has the wind with him. This will be a 56-yard try. Todd Dillon to hold. Osbaldiston does have the leg strength to kick this with a little wind behind him. The ball is down. It's long enough. And it's good. A 56-yard field goal by Paul Osbaldiston. And now it's a 4-point Edmonton lead. Eskimos 10 and the Ticats 6. Paul Osbaldiston has just kicked the longest field goal of his career, a 56-yarder. And it's now a 4-point Edmonton lead, 10-6 over Hamilton. 2.5 minutes into the second quarter. Here's Walling on a delayed handoff. Romel Andrews makes the stop, but Walling has 7 or 8 yards.
He really did pound the ball. Good slow rotation on the kick. Might have been a little question just for a second.
Well, Osbaldiston is now 34 out of 41 in the field goal department for the season. 2 for 2 today, up around 85%. And that is just outstanding. 2nd down and 2. Eskimos at their 43-yard line. They hand off to Marshall. He's across the 45 up to the 47-yard line. Frank Robinson made the stop. Neil, it's almost impossible, or it seems almost impossible, to stop Blake Marshall from gaining at least a yard or 2. You just can't hit him and knock him back.
Only on occasion have I seen someone get up underneath his shoulder pads. And I think the reason is because he gets his head and shoulders down in such a good forward running position. You are going to make contact, but he's so strong, the contact won't stop him dead.
From there, 47. Here's a fake by Tracy Ham. Big pressure, but he has a man open, and he couldn't get the ball to Marshall. Marshall had slipped out into the flat, but Ham overthrew him a little bit. Joe Ferrigelli, we talked to him about the record. You're 9-4. You happy with that? Do you like that? He said, well, that's okay. We knew we weren't going to be 16-2 again, but he says, let's just make the playoffs. Hope we finish first, and then we'll see what we do from there.
That's right. This is all preparation for another season, and that other season ends up in the long run being far more important.
2nd and 10 Eskimos. Ham over the middle, and it's no good. I don't know, it might be intercepted, but intended for Walling coming out of the backfield, and Darryl Corbin really belted Brian Walling.
And you can see right there, that's Walling that is still down. He took a heck of a shot trying to come back and make that catch. See, Walling leaves to the right. The linebackers don't come, and now Walling takes that inside lane right here. Almost seems like it was twisted the leg when he came down.
And it was Frank Robinson, not Corbin, who made the hit. Well, that depth at running back that the Eskimos have is being put to the test with Reggie Taylor out for the season. Walling now hurt. Michael Souls, Blake Marshall, Chris Johnstone, and of course Sean Millington, who's on the injured list, are still Canadian running backs that the Eskimos have at their disposal. 31-year-old Frank Robinson in his 10th CFL season. We have 10:49 left in the second quarter. Ten to 6, Edmonton leading the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Eskimos looking to move 3 points ahead of Calgary again in the race for first in the West. The Stampeders beating Saskatchewan yesterday. And Hamilton still alive for third in the East despite their problems of late. A win today would tie them with Ottawa for third spot. As Acadia product Brian Walling limps off the field, but the fact he's moving under his own power is encouraging.
And the Eskimos still have that flexibility in the backfield you mentioned a minute ago with Chris Johnstone and Michael Souls. Either one of them can line up at the halfback spot and be very productive.
Ray McAreedy, University of Western Ontario graduate. He played there from 86 to 88. He's the biggest kicker in the CFL at 6'4" and 225.
When his career as a kicker is over, he can put on 20, 30 pounds and become a center.
Well, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and Toronto Argos will play a rematch at the Skydome Saturday, and we'll have it on the Canadian Football Network. The Bombers are 3-0 against the Argos this season and can clinch first place in the East if they win that game.
And all Winnipeg has been doing is beating everybody. They played extremely well by beating Toronto defense, of course. Everyone knows they can play defense. Tom Burgess at the controls. Mike Riley has that team running awfully well.
Well, they're 3-0 against the Argos. They're 2-0 against Edmonton. They've beaten Saskatchewan. As you say, Neil, they've beaten every team in the CFL. So the Blue Bombers at 10-4 having quite a year. 3rd and 10 now for the Eskimos. Their 47-yard line. McAreedy kicking into the wind for the second time, and he got a beauty off the first time he did it. Pressure comes again. This one goes off the side of his foot a little bit and will bounce out of bounds at the 48-yard line of Hamilton. McAreedy tried to kick that to the sideline. It looked like he only got 16 yards out of it.
I was just going to say, it seemed like he stepped more to his right than he normally does by trying to kick the ball away from the one man who's deep, which is Wally Zatilny. Watch how he's trying to direct it to the wide side of the field. He just comes off to the right.
Very difficult to do into a wind like this. Ticats from their 49. Kerrigan dumps it off to Schromeyer, and he fumbles the ball, but it goes out of bounds before touched by an Edmonton player. So Hamilton will retain possession. Ernie Schromeyer, and he's got enough for a first down to the Eskimo 49-yard line.
Well, there's no question Mike Kerrigan, when he gets a chance, doesn't want to run with the football. And here's a classic example where he finds a spot, the soft spot, then just gets the ball out to Schromeyer. And you watch where the ball comes out, goes along, and goes out before Larry Ruck can get his hand on it. Not that he doesn't try here.
1st and 10 Ticats. Eskimo 49. Handoff McAdoo trying to take it wide. Now he'll turn it back in and get close to the 45 for 3, maybe 4 yards. McAdoo with 571 rushing yards coming into this game. He won't match his 1,039 of last year in all likelihood, but has nonetheless had a very good year.
Brian Walling went off a little bit earlier when the Eskimos had the ball. It's a calf problem. Either a pull or a bruise. You can see he was running back and forth trying to stretch it out and to see how it feels.
2nd and 7 at the Edmonton 46. Kerrigan pump fake, puts it up long for Winfield, and he can't get to it. And again, the wind, we've talked about the wind. It seemed to carry that ball a little bit over the head of Earl Winfield.
Well, you deal with the wind two ways. If you're going into it and throwing the ball, you obviously want to keep a nice tight spiral. But when you have the wind behind you, it will carry the ball 4, 5, 6 yards a little bit further, especially if the ball's up in the air.
Paulus Baldiston is on to try another long field goal. This will be a chip shot compared to the 56-yarder he just kicked. This one's from 53. Wind is with him. And it's good. And it's now a 1-point game. Edmonton 10 and Hamilton on 3 as Balderson field goals 9. Molson and CFN proud to bring you the best of Canadian football. '61-year-old Joe Ferragelli, 52-year-old Dave Beckman. The coaches today in a 1-point game. 8:41 left, second quarter. Eskimos 10, Ticats 9. Tracy Ham hands off Blake Marshall in the middle, and he has 5 more to his total.
Marshall, the ball carrier.
Ticats owner David Braley, as always, in the same spot, sitting amongst the fans, watching his club perform. I wonder if Dave thought he'd have to go through a 6-game losing streak, firing of a coach when he bought the club. Certainly he was aware of those things, but it's been an interesting year for Mr. Braley,
to say the least.
2nd and 5, and the pass complete, and Craig Ellis has a first down for the Eskimos out at the 47-yard line.
Should also point out that Michael Souls is in fact in the game out of that halfback spot for Brian Walling. Tracy Ham couldn't get that ball quick enough. You saw as soon as Ellis came off the line of scrimmage, he knew what the play was going to be. He doesn't sprint off, but he comes off under control, so he doesn't get into the coverage too soon.
Ham on first down, sprints right, and throws. Keith Wright going low, trying to make the catch, and he can't do it. Keith Wright's had a good year, as Ham has gone more to his outside receivers this season than he did last year.
Well, I think you have to be able to. Wright has 8 touchdown passes, 700 and close to 50 yards in receiving. Craig Ellis is on the inside. He's the focus for most defenses and for Tracy Ham, but you've got to be able to get that ball deep, both in the slot position and in the wideout. Without Gizmo Williams, Keith Wright might see the ball even a bit more.
Gizmo, by the way, should be back in a week or 2. 2nd and 10. Ham back to pass. Big pressure, but he runs away from it as only he can and gets to the Hamilton 42, 43-yard line. Again, outstanding athleticism displayed by Tracy Ham. Our Molson MVP last Friday on CFN when Winnipeg played Toronto was number 35, Tyrone Jones of the Blue Bombers. Had a sack and an interception and a handful of pressures as the Bombers really shut down the Toronto offense. Bob Irving and Neil Lumsden at Ivor-Wynne Stadium in Hamilton. 6:40 left in the second quarter. Edmonton leads Hamilton 10-9. And the Eskimos are 1st and 10 at the Ticat 48. Here's a reverse to Craig Ellis. Ticats are ready for it to some extent, and their pursuit enables them to stop Ellis at the 39-yard line after a gain of 3, maybe 4.
Good defensive play on the backside by Lorenz. Here comes Ellis from that slot spot, way out wide, comes deep. Lorenz forces him deeper. Now the defense has another second or so to make that adjustment. This is called flocking to the football.
Jordan was in on the stop along with Corbin. 2nd down and 6. Eskimos, Ticat 38.5. Ham, lots of time in the pocket over the middle. Has a man wide open. It's Craig Ellis. And he's down to the 27-yard line for another Edmonton first down. And there's just no stopping Craig Ellis this season.
Well, regardless whether it's man coverage or zone, Ellis has that ability and the knowledge to be able to find that soft spot, specifically in this last play in the zone. He comes around, passes the linebackers, but isn't in a hurry to get himself open because he knows where those areas are where he's supposed to slow down.
He's caught 4 passes today for 36 yards. Now has 77 receptions on the season. First down. Ham just keeps it off the right side as Mark Dennis, who's in the game at linebacker, was, I would say, a good yard offside.
He took a calculated risk. He tried to jump the count on the run.
Aha, but they caught the Eskimos for procedure. So Dennis saw some movement, reacted to it.
They caught me too.
Procedure, Edmonton number 8. First down repeated.
Well, that's Tracy Ham ready to drop back. You see him give Rod Conniff a little bit of a nudge there. He says, come on.
What are we waiting for? 1st and 15. Eskimos now at the Ticat 31-yard line. Less than 5 minutes to go, first half. Romel Andrews has Ham, who fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by Corbin.
Romel Andrews makes the play. Tracy Ham is going to find that gap, as he always does. But look at Andrews slide off a block and strip him. Just as Ham tries to reload, position the ball so he can throw it downfield, it slides out. The delay, good coverage downfield. And Mark Dennis just says, Craig Ellis, you can be covered, and I'll also knock you down.
Kerrigan, big pressure on first down. He tries to center screen to McAdoo, but he hits one of his linemen. But Danny Bass, who just has, again, that uncanny ability to slip through those holes and raise havoc, puts the heat on Kerrigan.
Well, and he does it on the run, too. I mean, he's not doing it from a standing start. He has that great ability to anticipate when the snap's coming and then accelerate right on the ball. I'm sure Mike Kerrigan couldn't figure out what the heck was happening.
When you've played 11 years, you tend to have an idea of what's coming. And nobody reads plays develop any better than Danny Bass. 2nd down and 10 from the 29. Kerrigan back to pass. He'll sprint out of the pocket and try to hit McAdoo, and does, up at the 47-yard line. Derek McAdoo pinned by Danny Bass, but that's a Ticat first down.
Well, we've seen so many times when a play breaks down, the backs of the receivers have to keep working. Bass has McAdoo out of the backfield, then all of a sudden the situation changes. And McAdoo gets the jump on Bass and runs away from him, and Kerrigan's able to find him.
19-yard gain. Bass had 13 tackles against Winnipeg last week. Has 76 on the season. That's 4th in the CFL. Hamilton permits 48 after the 19-yard gain. 1st and 10. Kerrigan puts it down the sideline, intending it for Earl Winfield, but Andre Francis kept him to the outside, would not allow him to turn to the inside of the field and go after the ball. And they have thrown a penalty flag.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 14. First down.
Andre Francis not allowing Winfield to come into where the ball is thrown. And it's right in front of the Eskimo bench, and the first guy to jump forward was Don Southern, saying, look, my guy can take his field and not give it up. And he figures that's what Andre Francis has done. Francis also has taken off his face shield for this game. The mist was just a little bit too much for him.
From the 43 of Edmonton, here's McAdoo running up the middle, and he's to the 41 for a gain of a couple. 3 minutes left in the first half. Edmonton leading 10-9 at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton. Eskimos with a 1-point lead. They had a 10-0 lead early in the game, but the Hamilton Ticats have come back with Paulus Baldiston kicking 3 field goals, 2 of them from outside of 50 yards, 53 and 56. And it's a 1-point game with 2:55 left in the first half. And the Ticats 2nd down and 8 at the Edmonton 41. Kerrigan for Winfield, and he tried to go down and catch the ball. It was a tipped at the line, Neil. It wasn't well delivered by Kerrigan.
Well, Kerrigan is well known for his 3 steps and throw the football. And in this case, Danny Bass again gets the jump. He is picked up by Schrameyer, but still, Bass gets deep enough, I think, to throw Kerrigan off a bit.
Dave Beckman, who hasn't coached for more than 10 years, he's been involved in scouting and administrative work. As Baldiston will attempt to make it 4 for 4 from 48 yards. And again, he pounds it, and he makes it. And Hamilton has a 2-point lead, 12-10, and Paulus Baldiston's kicking has played not just a large role in it, has been the key factor.
Well, Hamilton is now, because of the wind and Paulus Baldiston's leg, been able to get on the board when they've had the opportunity. You hate to pass up any chance to score. And as Baldiston has given him that chance 4 straight times.
Eskimos take it at their 35. First and 10. Ham throws to Keith Wright, complete at the 43, and he's punished by Albert Thomas and Stephen Jordan.
Well, Jordan's been playing that most of the season, that halfback spot. Albert Thomas has only been in camp for 3 days. Sonny Gordon is back at that, or back in the lineup, but is playing safety. And the one thing David Beckman said that he had to pull back on Sonny Gordon's aggressiveness a little bit. Since you're playing safety now, you can't be charging up all the time.
2nd and 2. Blake Marshall was hit at the line, but he bounced off, and he'll get around the corner and get close to center field. What a run by Blake Marshall.
You got to be able to pop it outside, and when it closes down quickly, as it did there for Marshall, don't get yourself bogged down. Don't consider that that's your only option. And he hits in there, pops off Grover Covington. Nice little move there to get the outside of right.
Now, what would ever give the fullback an idea he could take it outside?
That play right there.
Okay. Terrific run by Marshall, who's carried 57 yards on 11 carries. Pass complete to Craig Ellis down to the 42 of Hamilton. Corbin and Dawson made the stop. Western Ontario product in his 4th year with the Eskimos, Blake Marshall.
Just look at his face mask and his helmet. Somebody's taking a buzzsaw to him. All chipped up. He lead blocks on occasion?
Yeah, periodically. Looks like he gets into some pretty heavy traffic. Here's Ham from the 42. Covington after him. He gets away from him, but not from Romel Andrews.
Tracy Ham comes up saying, hey, look, they had my face mask. And he might have a case. This time, Tracy Ham doesn't seem to be ready for the snap. He comes underneath Covington. There's the reach, no? Andrews did not have the face mask. The hand passed over the eyes. But
yeah. He had his helmet for a moment, but slipped down to the jersey. Grover Covington was the man who forced Ham to run as he reached out and just missed him. 2nd down and close to 18. Call it 19 for the Eskimos from the 50 of Hamilton. Long pass to Colbert. And at the 5-yard line, he made a diving attempt, and the ball went through his hands. That was an outstanding throw by Tracy Ham on the run and into the wind.
When Ham does start to go on the run, he affects the secondary. This time, the coverage by Thomas, he's not looking back at Tracy Ham. You see him run and throw as smooth as you can be. He's ready to run down there and take the first down at about the 6-yard line.
He knew it was a good throw as soon as he let it go, and that it had a chance to be completed. But it's 3rd down and 19. From the Hamilton 50, we'll watch Ray McAreedy's punt from the end zone. 1:02 left in the first half. And McAreedy just gets another one off. Wally Zatilny at the 15, and he's up to the 22-yard line, hurtling through the air. A 33-yard punt and a 7-yard return by Wally Zatilny, who remembers now, if he'd forgotten, what it's like to return punts, to hurtle your body through the air.
Well, he was excited to get an opportunity to come back. He's been out for a long time. That's a pretty good welcome back by both Ruck and Marshall. I think he has to also temper his enthusiasm a little bit. The hamstring muscle is what he pulled, and pulled badly. And he's got to be careful that he doesn't overdo it in his first game back.
I don't think Wally would be very capable of tempering his enthusiasm. Difficult for him.
Yeah, silly thing.
McAdoo on a 1st down carry is up across the 25. He'll have 4 or 5 yards. 50 seconds the time remaining in the first half. Hamilton leading 12-10. Ticats at 4-9, trying to end a 6-game losing streak. Clock is running. It's down to 38. So Kerrigan is not going to attempt to get any more points on the board. Handoff on a draw to Derek McAdoo. And he runs it all the way up to the 39-yard line. Now with 23 seconds left in the half. Maybe the Hamilton thinking will change a little bit, because if they get it another 20 or 25 yards downfield, they're in Osbaldiston range.
Well, we talked about Mike Walker, and we've always talked about his quickness, but see how Riley butts him and then turns him to the outside? Use your strength and his quickness to his disadvantage, and it opens up a good hole.
Now Kerrigan will throw to Tony Champion, and he can't quite catch up to it. Champion was on Enos Jackson and had a step, but the pass a little bit overthrown. 16 seconds left in the half. They're at the 39-yard line. If they could get it to center field, I'm sure we'd see us Baldiston. Certainly would.
Oh, we might see him from there, too.
Tony Champion, 5 games back with the Ticats, 19 catches, 257 yards. Not Champion-like numbers. 2nd and 10 now from the 39. The toss to Derek McAdoo. And he is down after a loss of a yard. Stu Hill, Danny Bass, Larry Ruck all in on the stop with 10 seconds left in the half.
Really good defensive play. Good flow by the Eskimos right along the line of scrimmage, headed by Stuart Hill. He wasn't trapped. They didn't take him away from the play. Danny Bass right behind him. Can't play the sweep any better than that.
I'm surprised the Ticats wouldn't throw the ball 20 yards downfield. I mean, if you turn it over, there's only 10 seconds left. I don't know how much risk is involved, and if you do get it to center field, you can try to kick a field goal. 10 seconds to go. 3rd down and 11 for Hamilton. From there, 38. As Baldiston will punt. 2 men back for Edmonton. Darrell Colbert and Todd Smith.
And this is when you'd like the Giz back in the lineup. Henry Williams.
And this is Todd Smith with it. And Smith is tripped up by Giftopoulos at the 37-yard line, and the first half is over at Ivor Wynne Stadium. We are at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton, where it's been the Paulus Baldiston show this afternoon. He's kicked 4 field goals, 2 of them from outside of 50 yards, as the Ticats lead the Eskimos by 2 at halftime. Jeff Braswell of the Eskimos is not one of the most popular players in the CFL, but he is one of the most outrageous. Let's take a look at him.
Free James Brown! Free James Brown! Free James Brown! What's up? Hey! Edmonton guy with nothing in common.
Hey, Reno, hey, Mama, hey, Daddy, Poochie, John in Georgia, Eric in Jacksonville, Julie in Gainesville, Aunt T, Grandmama, Lake Worth, Palm Beach, Riviera Beach, and the Palm Beaches. What happened?
I'm pumped from day one. It don't take much to pump Jeff Braswell up. I'm trying to get people in the stand. And, you know, I spent a long winter in Edmonton, Alberta. And, you know, in order to enjoy the summers, you've got to spend a winter. So I'm enjoying my summers here, and I don't care what the critics say, because I've been here when it was 25 below zero, and I've been here when I had to shovel my way out the house and stuff like that. So if I see some sunlight, I'm going to take advantage of it, and I'm going to have a good time. So if anybody comes to the ballpark, and if they don't like Jeff Braswell, you know, just look at somebody else. You don't have to focus on me.
If you do focus on Jeff Braswell, you'll see a linebacker with immense talent. He might not be respected for his on-field antics, but no one disputes his talent.
All linebackers playing in any league, anywhere, needs to be physical, and they need to set the tempo. I try to intimidate, you know, to make my job easy, I'm going to intimidate you. And if it works, it works. So, and if I can intimidate you by mentally, physically, I'm going to take you out of the game. So I go into each game with 2 attributes. If I'm going to take you out mentally or physically, and I work on both of them for 60 minutes.
Brad's just come in, and he's played well for us. Like, he just has a tendency of doing things different than what some other players do. And, you know, but the main thing, as long as he comes to play football, and he has for us so far.
What's up, baby? Rock and roll style. We fight for first place, baby. It's hard, but it's fair. It's hard, but it's fair. Woo.
Energy is a Braswell trademark. If he's not burning up the field, you can find him doing his thing on the sidelines the Jeff Braswell way.
People don't know me. I mean, they write about me and they talk about me, but they really don't know Jeff Braswell. All they know about is Jeff Braswell is what he do on the football field. And they got to learn that that's a job, you know, and after that job is over, I'm dear old dad. I'm a loving husband and all that good stuff, but, you know, people don't see both sides of the road. You know, they see one side. They come to the game and they write about a certain player. You know, they don't write about my ability. They write about my personality. But my ability is the one that got me up there, not my personality.
Thanksgiving. What exactly is it? Oh, sure, it's another day off, but really, what is it? Yes, it's a day of giving thanks for all the wonderful things you have. And yes, there were those pilgrims that landed at Plymouth Rock, but they landed in Massachusetts. And face it, since then, the Americans can't get the right month, let alone the right day. But here in Canada, what does Thanksgiving mean? You know, if you ask a football player, you might get some surprising answers. First, there's sharing, as in the glory of a touchdown or a quarterback sack. Second, there's the fun in the stands. It's the young faces of football fans or the not-so-young faces of football fans all across this country. Third, there's the thrill of victory, the exuberance of teamwork, and the camaraderie of the players that can turn grown men into boys again. Finally, there's family. Just ask Wally and brother Steve, or Tom and cousin Tony, or Joe and son Mike. For sure, it's the pride a father has when he sees his son score a touchdown. It's rather fitting that we are in Hamilton today. It has put another angle into our search for Thanksgiving. To be honest, it's rather difficult to compare the trials and tribulations of Larry and Joe and Al with those of the thousands of steel workers and their families affected by a strike that has no end in sight. Or look west to the farmer reaping one of the finest crops ever, not knowing when or if it will be sold. But maybe football has a role to play on Thanksgiving anyway. It's a time for family and friends to rid themselves of the day-to-day problems and cheer for the home team. For many, that is a tradition in its own right. Yes, football and Thanksgiving, Canadian style, have much in common. Sharing, family, and fun. We're at Ivor Wynne Stadium. Good Thanksgiving so far for the Ticats, who lead the Eskimos by 2. Two-point Hamilton lead over the Eskimos at halftime. Let's review some of the first half. He didn't think he'd have to go through anything like this. Second and goal. Ham has a man all alone, and he has a touchdown to Brian Walling. Osbaldiston does have the leg strength to kick this with a little wind behind him. The ball is down. It's long enough. And it's good. A 56-yard field goal by Paul Osbaldiston. Statistically, an edge to the Eskimos, but the scoreboard favors Hamilton by 2.
This CFN game is an exclusive presentation of Sport OV. OV Real Life Beer. And Priority Courier, the official courier of the CFL.
Ray McElready will kick off for Edmonton to begin the second half at Ivor Wynne Stadium. Ticats have Winfield and Zatilny back deep, and it bounces between the two of them. Winfield back to his 9-yard line to pick it up and gets out to the 20, breaks a tackle, and up to the 25, maybe the 26-yard line. Neil Lumsden, neither coach knew what to expect from Hamilton this afternoon, Joe Ferragelli or David Beckman. Beckman has to be happy. I'm not so sure about Ferragelli.
Well, Joe Farraghelli, as you said, wasn't really sure. I think he understands a little bit more of what's going to happen. I think the Tiger Cats will play basic offense and defense, and what they've done well so far is play good, solid defense. The numbers for Mike Harrigan aren't great, but I think they will get better if that offense can put a drive together and some first downs together and stay on the field.
And we can't lose sight of the fact that this is not a good day to be throwing the football. It is wet and it is windy. McAdoo with a first down run, and he has stopped for a loss. The Hamilton running game has not been very successful today. Leroy Blue makes the stop. Actually, the drizzle that was with us at the start of the game is no longer here, but the wind is still a factor, and it favors Hamilton in this third quarter.
And I don't think Hamilton, and specifically David Beckman, has seen the success from the running game that he was hoping for.
Second down and 12. Ticats. Kerrigan puts it up long again for Champion, but nowhere near him. Mike Kerrigan just hasn't put the ball anywhere close to either Winfield or Champion on those long throws.
Well, they have that wind behind them now in the third quarter, so as the expression goes, they've got to make some hay when they get the opportunity, whether it be off the foot of Paulus Baldiston or probably more likely and hopingly by Beckman through the air and on the ground in touchdown.
Baldiston averaging almost 42 yards a punt, which is good in the conditions, and he's kicked 4 field goals, 2 from outside of 50 yards. And this punt is a short one, but he gets a good bounce. Colbert back at the 35-yard line, and he's back up to the 39. Stopped by the Ticats there. We're pleased to have join us Don Crump, the commissioner of the Canadian Football League. Don, we'll start with your visit to meet with Paul Tagliabue, the commissioner of the NFL, last week. Tell us what was discussed and how you felt about the meeting.
Well, Bob, I spent 3 hours in the commissioner's office, an hour and a half with the commissioner, and other than the things that you've heard about, we talked about areas where we could cooperate, and there is an interest in the National Football League keeping a healthy CFL, I believe, anyways, at this time.
The NFL has always had a good working relationship and a respect for the CFL. Did you sense that that's still there?
Well, I did from Paul Tagliabue. I think that it's up to me to keep reminding them of our progress, and this league's going to stay around a long time, and if I don't tell them, nobody else is going to.
You had another meeting and referring to our business for the people in television. Was it an optimistic and a good one?
Well, Lumpy, you know that Sports Channel America has carried our games live on in the United States across about 15 million homes, and they're happy with the experiment, and they want to continue it and expand it, I believe.
Don, there was an issue this past week in the CFL, which we'll talk about in a minute, as Walling has stopped for a loss, involving equal access to locker rooms. Does the CFL have a policy on that?
Of course we had a policy. We invoked it. Well, we haven't had any problems, and the issue came up, I think, mainly because of CBC Radio. That's the only people I've had any inquiries about, but in Winnipeg, they had to decide what they were going to do, and they decided to have the media in a room outside the dressing room and make access to everybody. So it seemed to work out, and the issue seems to be dying.
So you didn't instruct Cal Murphy to open his locker room to female reporters. You simply said give all reporters equal access.
I said find an alternative solution that meets with our plan, and that's what it was.
A couple more big crowds this weekend as the season heads into the home stretch. How do you feel about things?
Well, first year, it's been a learning experience for me. It's certainly been gratifying in many, many ways. As I say, there are a couple areas that I'm not very happy about, but we'll just have to work on them.
Don, thanks very much for joining us.
My pleasure, sir.
Don Crump, the commissioner of the Canadian Football League.
I can't believe it.
And as we end our discussion with Don, Joe Farraghelli is not a very happy man. There was a penalty flag thrown on the play you just watched where Walling was bumped, and then the officials ruled that there was in fact no penalty. Whether the flag was dropped inadvertently or not, we're not sure. We do know that it's 3rd down and 12 Eskimos, and they'll be punting from their 48-yard line. And McArady has it go off the side of his foot and out of bounds right around center field. This will be about an 8-yard net punt. We're 3 minutes into the second half. Ray McArady just got off an 8-yard punt. He's not very happy about it.
I think his reaction tells the story. But now it's up to Hamilton to take advantage of that opportunity.
Ticats at their 53 after the poor punt by McArady. Kerrigan, lots of time, throws behind Richard Estelle. Lee Knight was further downfield, but I believe it was intended for Estelle.
Hey, Mark! Take his arms out there!
I think Joe Faragelli's fire is burning just a little bit hotter, and I think it started when that interference call was called a no interference call, and it didn't go for the Eskimos, and they eventually had to punt, which led to the bad one, and subsequently them in this situation. And Hamilton has a man down the field. It's Derek McAdoo.
Actually, McAdoo almost got lost in that play as they were lining up to continue the game, and then somebody realized he was further downfield. He is a tough individual, Derek McAdoo. Well, we have a busy weekend coming up. Next weekend on CFN, Winnipeg at Toronto from the Sky Dome on Saturday, and then Sunday afternoon we'll be in Calgary for the Stampeders and the BC Lions.
I can't wait for the rematch in Winnipeg and Toronto.
Fourth time this year they'll play one another. The Bombers have won the first three. Psychologically important for the Argos to win that one Saturday, with a good chance those two teams will meet in the playoffs. Derek McAdoo, his second year out of Baylor University. We've seen him shaken up in a number of games. He always comes back, favoring his right leg, and he looks to be in a fair degree of discomfort. Well, there's 11 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter. Hamilton leading Edmonton 12-10. Ticats are second and 10 at their 53-yard line. Richard Nurse into the game. Kerrigan throws to Champion. He's wide open at the 35, and he's down to the Edmonton 32-yard line.
Well, Kerrigan has had problems finding that area between the zones. Edmonton used to play a little bit more man defense. This time they're giving you the man look, but they drop back. There goes Danny Bass to the left. You can see Mathis right in front. There it is, that spot.
First catch of the game for Tony Champion, and the last time the Ticats played, that gained 26 yards. They did not have Winfield or Champion in the second half, as they were both thrown out of the game in Toronto. Kerrigan from the Edmonton 31, first and 10. Quick pass, looking for Winfield down the sideline. But again, the ball a little bit overthrown. Kerrigan hasn't given up on that play all day, and I'm sure he won't.
Well, the offensive line did a good job of protecting from the blitz, but downfield, Keith Gooch had perfect position, little bump there, and you see the head comes around. He's not satisfied and doesn't play a man cover, just looking at the receiver. He knows, and it's instinct, and it's reading the receiver's eyes, too, of when to get that head around when the ball starts to come.
And that's the kind of coverage that makes Joe Faragelli say that his cornerbacks have been outstanding all year.
Well, it leads him to have 6 interceptions, and an important statistic that people don't look at is knockdowns, and he's got 13 of them.
Kerrigan, quick pass, Winfield, it's over his head. There's a flag down. Now, Enos Jackson is not very happy. Jackson and Lee Knight were in close quarters, a little further upfield.
Forward pass interference, Edmonton number 18, first down.
But the call is on Keith Gooch.
It's that left arm. You're allowed that one bump, but that left arm of Gooch's grab came around the waist. That's what the call's for.
Well, that's a good call. Now, Joe Faragelli wouldn't have seen that from where he is, but when he does see it on film, I don't think he'll argue much about it. From the 25 of Edmonton, it's Hamilton first and 10 after the interference penalty. A flag is down, and the pass to Richard Estelle, complete at the 15. He's dragged out of bounds by Mark Mathis at the 15, but there is a penalty.
And I think it'll be procedure against Hamilton, sure enough. I think it's Earl Winfield. He just started too quickly.
That was the first catch for Estelle, but it will not stand as the penalty goes against the Ticats.
Procedure, Hamilton number 1. First down repeated.
Now, if that play stays, it's Hamilton second and 1 or 2. Now they come back, and it's first and 15. those are the little things when you're playing against a good football team like Edmonton, the mistakes you don't want to make, especially in scoring in plus territory.
The little things that become so large. 1st and 15, Ticats. From just inside the 30, Derek McAdoo back in the game. A strained knee, and he's got a big hole out of the 20 into the 15 of the Eskimos. Close to a first down. The ball comes out, but the play was dead.
Well, I think you can see McAdoo right now that leg is still sore, but you could also see when he was running the ball. But he had enough quickness. You're going to see Danny Bass blitz. Here he comes. Good jump again. But the block, a great block to take Bass out of the play by Daryl Harley. He uses Bass's momentum and pushes him. I think we're seeing an aggressive McAdoo, but not a healthy one.
You have to admire his competitive spirit. You sometimes wonder if it's in his best interest to play the way he does. And I don't mean that as a criticism. I admire him totally.
Well, his type of play and others like that are inspiring, and it's necessary.
2nd and a yard. They'll fake to McAdoo. Kerrigan sprints right, throws to the end zone, and it's no good. And Leroy Blue was all over the intended receiver, Sam Louts.
Well, if you want to make a case for interference, that's the one. That's very, very close.
I'm not even sure it's close. He didn't play the ball at all. He simply ran to the intended receiver.
I'm sorry. I thought if the cover man, be it linebacker or man in the secondary, does not turn around, it is naturally screening. And you'll see right here, Leroy Blue just puts his head down and runs right over him. It's a good hit, but I don't think it's a legal one.
Well, I don't think it is either. But it wasn't called, and it'll be 3rd down and less than a yard. Ticats at the Edmonton 15.5. McAdoo carries across the 15 to the 14 and maybe the 13, and he will have the Hamilton first down. 8.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Ticats leading Edmonton 12-10.
And they're doing a pretty good job of burning up the clock here on this drive.
Or are they ever? Bernie Schromeyer comes back into the game as it's 1st down and 10. Ticats at the Edmonton 13-yard line. Kerrigan throws. Richard Estelle at the 6, and Estelle will get to the 1-yard line. The defender slipped, and Estelle was able to dive ahead almost to the goal line.
Well, you know what else Estelle did very well? When he made the break on Mathis, he had a good little push-off. A subtle one, but a good one, and it allowed him to get that separation on the break. Then he makes a catch. You'll see Mathis go down right here. Pretty good recovery by Mathis to get back up on his feet and keep Estelle to the 1-yard line.
Estelle feels he should have and could have gotten into the end zone, but he has put the Ticats at the Edmonton 1-yard line. They'll have 3 cracks to get it in from there unless they turn it over. Here's the 1st and goal. Kerrigan keeps himself, and he has a touchdown.
Take any chance away from handing the ball off, limit the opportunities of making a mistake, and Kerrigan just steps behind Jason Riley, Dale Sanderson. And with Kerrigan's size, he's able to bump in through there.
Paulus Baldiston will be on to try the convert. That was a 10-play, 57-yard drive set up by the poor punt by McAreedy as Baldiston adds the convert, and it's a 9-point lead for Hamilton. You're watching Molson Canadian Football Network. Hamilton Tiger Cats have scored 19 straight points, and they lead Edmonton by 9 with 7:15 left in the 3rd quarter. Paulus Baldiston kicking off. Darrell Colbert will return. Colbert is down at the Edmonton 34-yard line. Mark Dennis makes the tackle, a 19-yard return.
The fun and the battles down in close to the goal line. You see Braswell in there tight. He bends back Harley and continues to push. Now you see the ball come over. Boom. Checking Mike Kerrigan's abdominal muscles. And they chat a bit afterwards.
They're like a karate champ breaking bricks. Well, he didn't hit him with any malicious intent. It was a love tap more than anything. But I'm sure Kerrigan wasn't amused by it. Here's Walling carrying off the right side up to the 43, close to the 44. Frank Robinson makes the stop. The Edmonton running game has been very effective today, but the Eskimos have not been able to score any points since the first quarter.
And it still seems like Walling is feeling the effects of that sore calf that he hurt in the first half. So right now, both our starting tailbacks, McAdoo and Walling, are on the limp a bit.
The last good chance the Eskimos had to score was late in the second quarter when Tracy Ham fumbled at the Hamilton 29-yard line. Second down and 1. Eskimos at their 43. Ham keeps and will have the first down close to the 45. 6:23 left in the third quarter.
And I would think, Bob, with this breeze picking up as it is, Hamilton, with it at their back right now, would like another opportunity to get the ball in the end zone and take advantage of what the kicking game can give you with the wind at your back and be at field position.
Tracy Ham from his own 45 to put this play into effect. Throws down the middle, and it's no good. Intended for Craig Ellis at center field, but the pass thrown on a real rope, and Ellis was not able to bring it in. Again, we remind you that this is a difficult day for throwing and catching. It's wet and it's cold.
And you saw Tracy Ham get up with this, holding his shoulder. Covington comes in, and almost like he's giving his body up. Lorenz is in there. Covington from one side. Rommel Andrews. And even when he was lying there, he was holding his left hand.
34-year-old Grover Covington in his 10th year. Second and 10. Eskimos at their 45. Ham sprints left to get away from that pressure. Rommel Andrews keeps him inside, though. And now Ham dumps it off to Walling, and does he ever have room? But he stumbles, and that enables Giftopoulos to get back and make the play. Walling will gain 9 yards. He'll be less than a yard short of a first down.
Well, depending on the spot, great hustle by Giftopoulos. The play's going all the way to the other side of the field. You can follow it. Tracy Ham's going to sprint. They have a stunt up front, which takes Covington inside, and you see Rommel Andrews. He's doing a good job, even though he's battling somebody, holding on to contain. Here comes the pressure, but all the way to the other side of the field is Brian Walling, and that stumble allowed the hustle of Giftopoulos to get him there, and it's 3rd and 1.
Is Ham like a magnet? When he sprints to one side, everybody on defense follows. 3rd down, less than a yard. Ham has the first down, but there are flags. It looked like the Ticats were offside.
Tim Lorenz did jump. I don't know whether he was pulled or not.
But there's another thing, that one of the subtle things Tracy Ham does for you with his tremendous athletic ability.
Hamilton, number 64, first down.
When he moves, everybody behind the defensive front heads in that direction, and if he can ever get it back the other way, look out.
Well, sure, and downfield, the same thing's happening. When he starts to move to one side, his receivers are working hard to get to that side to give him a place to throw the ball.
Offside against Lorenz gives Edmonton a first down at the Hamilton 51. Here's a delayed handoff to Walling, who makes one nice move to get away from Frank Robinson, but Giftopoulos and Rommel Andrews hit him at the 46. It'll be a gain of 5.
Well, there's some good battles going on down near the line of scrimmage. Dale Corbin's getting into it with Andrew McConnell. Giftopoulos has been in 2 big plays the last time, a good pop there. And on Walling before that, I believe that it's starting to heat up a little bit.
Second down for the Eskimos and 5 yards to go at the 46 of Hamilton. Ham sprinting right. Has the corner, but throws to Sinkar, who's open. He takes a real good wallop from Giftopoulos, but has the first down at the 26 of the Ticats.
Well, I mentioned earlier, when Tracy Ham starts to roll, so does the defense. They have to respect that. A little bit of a tug on Craig Ellis, but now he's going to move over to the next level. The ball's thrown to Sinkar.
He is a worker. Pete Giftopoulos, a Hamilton native, went to Penn State. 1st and 10. Eskimos at the 26 of Hamilton. Ham. He'll take off around the corner. Stephen Jordan giving chase, and Rommel Andrews forces Ham out of bounds at the 14-yard line. of Hamilton, and that's another Edmonton first down with 3:26 left in the third quarter. Joe Faragilli's offense averaged 38.5 points this year. Neil, 38.5 per game. They're first in average yards offense per game, first in average rushing yards per game in the CFL, but only 10 points today.
And you name out those statistics, and there are plenty more that are supplied to us, but Joe Faragilli looks at only one, and that's the plus-minus. And he says you can tell how a team's doing by looking at no other statistic other than that one, and he's right.
You really can. We'll talk more about that. First down from the 14. Ham flushed out of the pocket, but that's not necessarily bad news for Edmonton. He's hit hard and fumbles, but was out of bounds, and will have a first down, it looks like, at the 2-yard line.
Well, before the game, Don Southern was talking about having played on this field when he was at Hamilton Tiger Cat from 1960 to 1967, and how the field used to be in terrible shape. But he had a quarterback by the name of Bernie Filoni, and he described Filoni as a fullback that can throw the football. But he also mentioned that Tracy Ham resembles Bernie Filoni in that way, that he's a guy that can throw the ball well, but when he starts to run, he might as well have a 33 or a 34 number on, because he runs like a fullback.
Giftopoulos knocked Ham out of bounds. First and goal, Eskimos at the 2. Blake Marshall, of course, and he doesn't get in. Frank Robinson was there with a couple of other Ticats to hold Blake Marshall out of the end zone on the first try.
Well, his chin strap and part of his helmet was in.
But the ball wasn't.
Yeah, but you know, I'll bet you they give it to him again.
I think it might be soon, though. If it doesn't get in the next 2 plays, then we really have ourselves a story.
Brian Walling still feeling the effects of that calf injury.
Second and goal. Do they go to Marshall again? Yes, they do. And does he get in for a touchdown? There are flags down. Marshall has the touchdown, but there are flags on the play. And it's a
offside. Hamilton number 93 declined. Touchdown.
Well, with Walling out in that backfield with Michael Souls, Chris Johnstone, and Blake Marshall, Souls and Johnstone lead. There's about, between them, I guess they average about 215, 20 pounds. And, of course, the horse right there is 2 1/4. He's still reaching the ball into the end zone after he's 3 or 4 yards deep.
That is the 9th touchdown of the year, make that the 10th touchdown of the year for Blake Marshall. And the Eskimos are within 3, 19-16. And Ray McAready will attempt to make it a 2-point game. And he does with 2 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in the third quarter. 10th touchdown of the year for Blake Marshall, and the Eskimos are within 2 of the Ticats.
Blake Marshall, not exactly an offensive lineman, but sitting in with Gary Durchek, and that offensive line did a whale of a job in all aspects, both running and protecting.
Wally Zatilny on the kickoff return gets away from Leroy Blue, but what a job Blue did of breaking the wedge.
Well, you know that the term wedge buster hasn't been used in a long time, or at least we haven't talked about it, but this is the example of a wedge buster. See, everyone's coming together. Okay, we have a nice tight formation, and boom, Blue just flies through there. That'll break up a play, won't it?
That is real wild and crazy football by Blue, and very effective too. A pass to Estelle on first down is complete, but Larry Ruck won't let him get away. And Estelle has a gain of 4, maybe 5.
Well, I mentioned the offensive line had a bit of a meeting, and they did a good job all the way in that rush, in that drive with Tracy Ham's protection, and ending it off with Blake Marshall in that surge. Conniff at the center with McConnell and Verschoval, Dermott, and Bowles. Can't do it without him.
No, you can't. Just a 3-yard gain for the Ticats. 2nd and 7 from their 43. Flags down. Kerrigan to McAdoo over the middle, and he won't get away from Jeff Braswell. He needed 3 more yards for the first down, but they weren't there. If the penalty, it's against Hamilton, so the Ticats will be in a punting situation.
Eskimos will decline and force Hamilton to punt.
Procedure, Hamilton number 1, penalties decline, 3rd down.
3rd and 3 for the Ticats with just 1:09 left in the 3rd quarter. Their time with the wind is running out quickly. Ray Roberta sends it back to Osbaldiston, and he gets an excellent kick away. Todd Smith at the 10-yard line. And Smith has dropped it. Well, he's still on his feet. Now he's dropped at the 12-yard line of the Eskimos. With the score, Hamilton 19, Edmonton 17. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations from coast to coast to identify themselves. You're watching Molson Canadian Football Network.
It's a time to pause, a time to reflect, a time to give thanks for all that we have this Thanksgiving. This is ITV.
50-yard punt by Paul Osbaldiston and a 1-yard return. Osbaldiston has kicked 4 field goals today for the Ticats, a 53 and a 56-yarder among them. So the Eskimos start from their 13-yard line with a 1st and 10 and 30 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Handoff to Marshall, and why not? He fumbles the ball at the 16-yard line, and the Eskimos were able to recover.
As time in the game goes on, the ball's going to get a little bit slicker, and Brian Walling is behind the doctor there. He's still receiving some attention. Michael Souls will be in his spot at the halfback position. You watch the hit, you'll see the hit that knocks the ball out right there, Giftopoulos.
Boy, in this quarter, Giftopoulos has been everywhere. Ham sprints left. Covington gives chase. Ham finally throws, and it's no good. Sincar was open. Tracy Ham ran a long way and finally found an open receiver but couldn't connect with him. And that ends the 3rd quarter with Hamilton ahead by 2. "15 minutes left in regulation time. Hamilton leading Edmonton 19-17 at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton. And the 4th quarter will begin with the Eskimos punting. Ray McAready standing back on his 1-yard line. It's 3rd down and 7. End zone look. Good snap to McAready. They came close, the Ticats did, to blocking a number of them in the 1st half. Not as close on that one. Here's Zatilny on the run. Flags are down. Zatilny dropped by McLean at the 46-yard line. But a no-yards penalty will likely go against the Eskimos. A 35-yard punt by McAready.
When they pick captains to teams, usually there's one on the offense and the defense. Number 22, though he plays an awful lot of offense, that's Blake Marshall, is the captain of their special teams. He's on almost all of them. The reason he's on almost all of them is because he does a great job. Mike McLean's right there to help out.
The no-yards penalty was against David Shelton, the rookie defensive back for the Eskimos. And it moves the ball to the Edmonton 46-yard line. 1st and 10, Hamilton Ticats going into the win now in the 4th quarter. Kerrigan to Champion. It was deflected by Bass, I believe, and then Champion lost his focus on it a little bit and could only get one hand up to make a stab at it that didn't connect.
That would have been a whale of a catch if Champion had been able to, and I'm sure it was just out of reaction after the ball was misdirected by Danny Bass.
Dirks, Harley, Sanderson, Riley, Gorell, the offensive line of the Ticats. 2nd and 10. Hamilton from the Edmonton 46. Kerrigan, big pressure. He screens to McAdoo on the left side, but Braswell will not let him get away, and they throw him back near center field. And you know that Jeff Braswell is going to celebrate a play like that.
But it's a good one. They're trying to set the screen up to the wide side of the field. The Tiger Cats always flip Miles Gorell and Jason Riley to that wide side. But watch the heat come quickly. Walker and Stu Hill. The ball's gone. Look at how Braswell plays this. Perfect. Avoids the blocker, comes in and secures the tackle. Just a heck of a defensive play.
Just an outstanding play by Braswell. They spotted the ball way back at the 52 of the Eskimos, and the pass was completed around the 49. That's what the booing was all about. 3rd down and 16 as Baldiston punting into the wind, trying to angle it to the sideline, and it'll go out of bounds at the 30-yard line of the Eskimos. And there we get a vivid look at what a factor the wind is. Molson and the Canadian Football Network, proud to bring you the best of the CFL. Joe Ferragelli and Gary Durchik look on from the Edmonton Eskimo bench. The Eskimos down by 2 with 13.5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Edmonton 1st and 10 from its 30 after a 22-yard punt. And to Craig Ellis, and he's cut from behind and down for a loss of a yard by Frank Robinson.
Play designed to try to break a key of the Tiger Cats. When Tracy Ham drops back, you look and you almost think he's going to throw the hot pattern. He takes that 2 steps right there and looks, and now he's going to throw that screen to Ellis. Ellis backing in like he's a backside blocker, slides out, good pressure by Bob Dawson, and then the tackle is made by Robinson.
2nd and 11, Eskimos from their 29. Ham for Ellis. This is complete up to the 43, and he's down at the 44. That'll be a gain of 15, the 7th catch of the day, and the 80th of the season for Craig Ellis.
Hamilton brings the blitz. They've got to get pressure to Tracy Ham and not allow him the time to find Ellis.
9th year as a pro, Craig Ellis from the 44. Ham. A quick one to Sinclair, and it's intercepted. Stephen Jordan. Back to the Edmonton 36-yard line.
Well, the old tip drill comes into play. Jordan just is in the right place at the right time. You can almost see there's a decision made downfield. I think it's Sonny Gordon. Does go for it and then backs away right here. Good play, but even a better play. We've talked about Giftopoulos making tackles on defense. Watch the block if we get a chance to see it right there. Trevor Bowles. He just hammers Bowles.
2nd interception of the year for Stephen Jordan. And McAdoo will carry on 1st down, and he won't get far to the 33 of the Eskimos for a gain of 3.
And it seems like with McAdoo, when he runs, it just isn't, he isn't 100%. You're going to see that hit on Bowles again. Just put your helmet under his chin, and it's a legal shot, and it's a great shot. Just, whoo! Trevor Bowles is a big guy. I mean, he's not easy to knock down.
2nd and 7 from the 33 for Hamilton. Kerrigan rifles it for Champion, extends himself but can't make the catch at the Edmonton 15-yard line. Good effort by Tony Champion. You know, that hit that Bowles took, that's what you get paid for. I mean, you play the game for nothing, wouldn't you? That's what you get paid for.
Well, you mean as far as Giftopoulos is concerned,
well,
those are the types of hits that you dream about.
But I mean, the compensation for Bowles, the money he gets to play this game is compensation for having to put up with that. Here's Osbaldiston into the wind from the 40-yard line. And it's good. And the day stays perfect for Paul Osbaldiston. And Hamilton now has a 5-point lead, 22-17.
But gives them a better cushion, but Hamilton is going to have to continue to push the ball offensively to stay ahead of Edmonton.
David Braley likes the fact that his Hamilton Tiger Cats are leading, and also that they've topped the 20-point total for only the 3rd time in their last 7 games. Paul Osbaldiston with his 5th field goal put Hamilton in front 22-17, and Osbaldiston kicks off to Todd Smith. Smith up to the 37 and then is driven across the 40. They're trying to steal the ball from him but don't succeed. But he took a hit that knocked him ahead 5 yards. Tracy Ham brings the Edmonton offense back out onto the field. Directs some words to one of the officials as he's running out there.
I heard you.
Well, you got to stay on the good side. I mean, you have to keep saying hi and all that stuff. You just never know when it. Sure. How you doing? You warming up? Can I get you anything on my way in? Or, you know.
How are you holding up on this cool, windy day? Happy Thanksgiving. Call a penalty against them. From the 43. Ham wants to screen and does to Ellis. One-on-one with Stephen Jordan, and Jordan makes the play with help from Romel Andrews.
We've seen on different occasions the problem the players have had coming up, not so much making cuts, but coming up and then controlling yourself and not sliding. And Jordan here slows himself down just enough, though he does slide, that he doesn't go down. And then good hustle by 93 Romel Andrews to get out there and help out.
Eskimos, 2nd and 8 from their 41. The pass to Ellis, and it's complete up at the 52-yard line, just across to the 52.5. And he'll be very close to a first down. They may have to measure.
Well, Corbin lines up as a middle linebacker, but right here he's waiting for a stunt or Lorenz to give him a break and a seam, a design play. They'll try to get Corbin from all parts of the field to get at Tracy Ham, and I don't think, as you can see, they're just short, that they've had enough success getting to Tracy Ham. Of course, not a whole lot of teams have because of his ability to get out of there.
Leroy Blue and Brett Williams come in to provide some extra blocking on 3rd down and less than a yard, and the Eskimos will go for it from their 53-yard line. Easy for me to say. 9:50 left in the 4th quarter. Edmonton down by 5. Ham keeps and has the first down. As Lorenz and Marshall got nose to nose on the blocking on that play. It has been a tough game, as most games are, but there's been a lot of battles along that line. And some terrific hits.
I don't think there's any question that it has intensified the physical side of this game. It started off in the first quarter as not being one of those games where people are going after one another, but that attitude has started to prevail, and that's good.
First down, Tracy Ham. Lots of time. Finally dumps it off to Marshall. He gets away from Giftopoulos, and then is hit hard by Sonny Gordon. Or Daryl Corbin, not Sonny Gordon.
Well, I talked earlier about Marshall being tough to knock back. Some guys have done it, but the way you do it is the way Corbin does. Watch 38. Drops to his zone, but watch where he makes contact with Marshall. He gets in a better position as far as hitting goes. He gets underneath him. Move. Pretty good shot.
Then he gave us a little Jeff Braswell imitation. 2nd down and 3 from the Hamilton 50 for the Eskimos. Ham faking. And will he get away from Nate Bierkowski? No, he won't.
Great defense on contain and fighting off a blocker and then eventually getting back upfield. Play action to try to get the defense to move a bit. The receivers are coming towards him. Good hustle. You want to make sure he's not got one hand but 2 hands on Tracy Ham when he puts him down. Good, tough defense.
3rd down and 18 yards to go. Eskimos at their 46. McAready somehow got the kick away. Flag comes down. The ball goes out of bounds at the Hamilton 50-yard line. And we'll tell you what the penalty's all about when we come back. 8:04 left in the 4th quarter.
Dan Sellers was the man who got the call for roughing the kicker. For the life of me, I don't know how this ball got through there.
But it's a 10-yard penalty, and it still leaves Edmonton 3rd down and in a punting situation. However, a much more favorable kick for them as it goes by Zatilny back to the 8-yard line. And Zatilny's out of bounds at his 9. So what a difference, again, that penalty makes. Instead of being at their 50, the Ticats are back at their 9-yard line as David Beckman, their
all that is caused
interim coach.
We don't coach on fucking last night and get guys behind the line and listen. We can't coach.
Well, Beckman is a little upset, and I don't imagine Joe Ferragelli is exactly ready to have a party. There, his team's down by 5 with 7:40 left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but he likes this field position a whole heck of a lot better than he would have before.
And Hamilton's going into the wind. So the Ticats are backed up from their 9. Kerrigan, quick pass, Champion has it at the 15 and gets up to the almost the 19-yard line, very close to a first down. You know, when you consider play. Edmonton, I was going to say Edmonton 9-4 and Hamilton 4-9 coming into this game. We are seeing just a tremendous game with Hamilton leading by 5 and 7.5 minutes left.
Well, as Joe Ferragelli wasn't sure what to expect from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, a lot of people, including ourselves, we're not sure what to expect as far as the performance goes. And I don't know if coaches know either. There is no formula as you go through a week to make sure your players are going to be ready to go come Monday afternoon or Sunday afternoon. It's just one of those intangibles you can't put your hand on. You keep your fingers crossed and you hope like all get out that it's going to turn out for you. But even Beckman said, look, you know, 2 good days of practice and then we had a bad one the other day. Said he had to chew him out a little bit. So you really don't know what to expect.
Ticats are getting some of their people back. They only have 4 or 5 players who are still injured that would be considered regulars. Second down and less than a yard to go. Kerrigan keeps and looks like he got the first down. Lance Shields, Jim Rockford, Daryl Patterson on the defense. Rocky DiPietro on offense are the only front liners that are still out of Hamilton's lineup, and they've had Winfield out at different stages and Covington, and very few players have played every game for Hamilton. But once they have all their people healthy, again, we talked about it earlier, they have the personnel that could make some noise in the East still this season.
Because they still have a shot at that playoff spot, that last one.
From the 19, Kerrigan wanted to throw quickly and then finds Estelle. And he's to the 45 and dives with the ball up to the Hamilton 48.
Estelle sees McAdoo run like that and drag some people. He figures he can do the same. Watch how quickly that ball has to get in there. Ruck's in good position. Bass is coming over. If that ball isn't thrown on a line, there's not a chance of a reception. And then the rest is left up to Estelle to get them out to the 47-yard line.
Thrown with authority by Mike Kerrigan. And right on the money. If it hadn't been, it would likely be going the other way. Here's McAdoo on a first down carry, and he's across center field to the Edmonton 54 for a gain of 8. McAdoo hurt his knee in the first half, but he has continued to play. Doesn't look like himself totally, but was good enough to pick up 8 yards that time. 5.5 minutes left, fourth quarter. Hamilton ahead by 5, and second down just over a yard at the Edmonton 54. Handoff goes to Schraumeier, and he doesn't get the first down, but there are flags.
And I believe Hamilton will get that first down on this penalty. I think it'll be offside Edmonton.
Offside, Edmonton 91, first down.
I think if I'm standing on the sidelines and I'm a Hamilton Tiger Cat coach, regardless of head coach, assistant coach, that I want the offense to drive the ball, chew up a good half of the 5-14 and counting that's left, and try to get it in the end zone. I mean, that's the ideal scenario right now for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
14th first down for the Ticats. The Eskimos have more than 20, but Edmonton has turned the ball over twice and Hamilton only once, and that's played a role in this game. McAdoo carrying, he fumbles the ball. And let's see. The Eskimos have it, so the turnovers are now even at 2 each.
Great defensive play by Dan Bass. We've seen him come through on blitzes. He comes through and hits the gap, and he also just goes with McAdoo. See him coming? He finds that gap, fights the block off, and he causes the fumble. He's making the tackle, and the ball comes out clean as soon as he's hit. He may even got it back.
32 years old, Danny Bass, having another stupendous season. Tracy Ham, look out, he's got room down the right side. Romel Andrews chasing, but he won't catch him. Who will? Ham runs out of bounds at the 36 of the Ticats. 4:29 left in the fourth quarter.
The type of play and the time of game where Tracy Ham is allowed to make a difference. Kind of an interesting stance there when he comes out. He's showing sprint left. He's got his running backs Marshall up to the left side. The blocking's good, but you can see he makes a read. When that read isn't there, he's gone.
102 yards rushing for Tracy Ham in 10 carries. And he hands off to Marshall on first down. And look at him fight for yardage. He gets 3 or 4. There is a penalty flag on the play.
Naprakowski and Dawson on the tackle. There's a penalty marker on the play.
Procedure, Edmonton number 66. First down repeated.
That's Trevor Bowles, who's called for illegal procedure. So it'll be first down and 15. Eskimos from the Hamilton 41-yard line.
It's there on the left side of the screen. Bowles comes out of his stance.
Ham in the pocket. And that's where they'll try to keep him. And they did keep him in there for the most part. Forced him to run on the inside, and Ham picked up a couple of yards, but that's all.
The Tiger Cat defensive linemen are doing a good job of showing some patience when they go and try to break to Tracy Ham. You know, they're paid and have a great desire to get to the quarterback and sack him. But they're playing off, and they're keeping Tracy Ham in the backfield.
3.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton. Bob Irving, Neil Lumsden. Ticats lead the Eskimos 22-17. Edmonton second and 13 at the Hamilton 39. Ham gets away from the first rusher and is able to get the ball downfield to Craig Ellis for a first down inside the Ticat 20. And what a job by Tracy Ham.
And who else? You know, the first thing I thought of is when the ball's thrown, who else is going to go to? Ellis over the middle again. They've got pressure on Ham. He just steps up, delivers a strike.
3:01 left on the clock at Ivor Wynne Stadium.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,
the 5-point Hamilton lead being threatened as the Eskimos are first and 10 just inside the Hamilton 20-yard line. The clock is running, and it's down to 2:55 as Tracy Ham drops back to pass and just dumps it over to Michael Souls at the 15, to the 10, to the 5, and inside of the 3-yard line.
Pass complete to Michael Souls.
Michael Souls, as we've mentioned earlier, is in at the halfback spot, replacing Brian Walling. He just simply leaks through. The pressure's going to come up. He finds an open spot. See him go there. He waits a second. Corbin has stepped up. As soon as Corbin steps up and establishes himself, Souls takes off.
Does Tracy Ham look good in this drive? First and goal from the Hamilton 3. Ham to Blake Marshall. And does he get in? Yes, he's in for the touchdown.
Blake Marshall for the Edmonton touchdown.
And the Eskimos take the lead by 1 point.
Well, you get used to that pounding up inside. You'll see here, he looks like he's coming back inside. See the guard pull around? Andrew McConnell pulls out and comes around. That play's going to the outside all the way.
Second touchdown of the game for Marshall, 11th of the season. 2 minutes, 24 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And they'll attempt a 2-point convert to take a 3-point lead if they can complete it. Ham just loops it up in the air, and it's no good. So the Ticats defend successfully against the 2-point convert. Darryl Corbin leading the Hamilton defensive charge into Tracy Ham's area.
I thought from the formation, Ham was going to try to throw to the back out in the flat. That time, Corbin gets to Tracy Ham with the perfect timing. The play beforehand that got them in the end zone was, here's McConnell pulling around. He seals the corner, and it's one-on-one, Albert Thomas and Blake Marshall, and I'd bet most of the time on Marshall with 1 yard.
Blake Marshall, 2 touchdowns today. Of course, if Edmonton makes the 2-point convert, then Hamilton needs a field goal to tie the game. And now the Ticats can win it with a field goal.
Seems only fitting the way as Balliston's been kicking the ball that he should get the chance to win the game for the Tiger Cats if in fact that they can bring this kickoff back.
Well, and they'll have to get it inside the 40 because of the wind as Zatilny returns the kickoff to the 37-yard line of Hamilton. Lots of time for the Ticats. 2:19 left in the fourth quarter. It's up to Mike Kerrigan in the offense.
You're right. I don't think time is an issue right now as far as throwing more urgency into this series. I think Kerrigan has to look at it. He's got plenty of time. Don't try to force it downfield, but force it to the not force it, get it to the places that are the easiest completions. You don't have to go for it all right now.
Well, and Kerrigan is a cool, poised veteran, and you know he'll take his time. From the 37, he throws the out to Champion, breaks a tackle, Champion at the 40, and he fumbles the ball, and then got it back. They say Tony Champion got it back, and the end result is he will gain a couple of yards and cause David Beckman's heart to increase in speed dangerously.
Once you make that one move back inside and beat the first man as Champion did, you better get going upfield because lots of people are coming over to help out.
2nd and 8 from the 39. Here's McAdoo in the flat to the 45, and he doesn't get the first down. That's not the same Derek McAdoo we know. He's troubled by that knee. He's just not running with the drive we are accustomed to seeing. The Ticats are about 1.5 yards away from the first down. I think they have to go for it, Neil. If they kick into the wind, they're going to leave Edmonton with good field position and may not get the ball back.
Oh, I agree, and I think they are going to go for it. But I don't know if it's a play that's as simple as a quarterback sneak.
Well, they have a good 1.5 yards, closer to 2 yards to go. 3rd down from the Hamilton 45. They put in some extra blockers. Kerrigan will fake the handoff. He wants to pass, puts it down long for Winfield, and he has it at the 40 of the Eskimos to the 36.
Well, that was an understatement. It wasn't going to be as simple as a quarterback sneak. What a great call, and nothing else could describe it other than a gutsy call. Fake to McAdoo. He's got Winfield one-on-one to the outside. Boy, oh boy.
Well, it's only a great call because it worked.
Well, I'll describe it as a gutsy call. You're right. It's great now, but it was gutsy.
Well, it was going to be difficult to run for the 2 yards. There's no doubt about that. So I think a pass was a good option, but they must feel fortunate to have that one work out. McAdoo carries on first down across the 35 to about the 34 of the Eskimos. 1:02 left. Now, it looks, Neil, by the way they ran that play, as though they're going to be content to just leave it in the center of the field for Paul Baldiston. But I think I'd want to get it a little closer again with the wind we have today, although as Baldiston is 5 for 5 and kicked a 40-yarder into that wind, so maybe they feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think you might be right the way they're approaching it, but I don't know if I'd be satisfied.
2nd and 8 from the 34. Hand off McAdoo left side. He's cut down immediately. The ball came out, but they ruled the play dead at the 33-yard line. So it'll be a 40-yard field goal attempt by Paul Baldiston. And there's an injured Ticat. Is it McAdoo?
Bob, you mentioned that under normal circumstances, if Hamilton had another player they could put in at the halfback spot, McAdoo probably wouldn't have been playing in this game. But because there's nobody else, we've seen a very gutsy effort by him.
Paul Baldiston has been 5 for 5 today in field goals. 14, 56, 53, 48, 40. Those are his kicks in order. The 40-yarder here in the fourth quarter into the wind.
Interesting to see if any statistics are kept, and I don't believe that there are, of field goals made in a single game over 50 yards. I'm sure Ridgway's name's got to be around there if there were statistics, don't you?
You would think so. We don't know the extent of Derek McAdoo's injury, and of course we hope that it isn't serious, but here's a guy again, and I say, Neil, whose competitive nature maybe gets the better of him at times, because when you're fooling around with knees, boy, I don't know, you want to be a little cautious. Let's review the game today and how the scoring has unfolded. Brian Walling, as the Eskimos had a nice drive the first time they had the ball. Ray McAreedy in a field goal. It was 10-0 Edmonton late in the first quarter. Then as Balderson went to work with his first of 5 field goals, the shortest of them from 14, then the 56-yarder, and then a 53-yarder made it 10-9 in Edmonton's favor. As Balderson wasn't done in the first half, he kicked one from 48. And the Ticats had a 12-10 lead at halftime. In the third quarter, Mike Kerrigan, a 1-yard run to cap a nice drive, a 9-point Hamilton lead. The Eskimos then came back with a Blake Marshall touchdown late in the third quarter. And after Balderson kicked his 5th field goal to give Hamilton a 5-point advantage, Marshall scored his 2nd touchdown of the game, and Edmonton leads by 1. The 2-point convert failed after that Marshall touchdown.
And let's not forget this. There's a 1-point difference, as you pointed out. This is for Hamilton to go ahead, but a single point ties it.
Now, the Eskimos have called their timeout just as play had been whistled back in, so this is a strategy we see all the time.
You think there's the same kind of pressure there is right now on David Beckman when he was only involved in scouting? Have you ever had to go through a 10 or 15-minute period like this?
Well, as the player personnel director, I can't imagine that the feelings were anywhere near what they are right now for Dave Beckman. And he wants to come back and coach again next year. Osbaldiston, a 40-yard attempt. Dylan holding into the wind. The kick is up, and it's good. Osbaldiston is 6 for 6, and Hamilton leads by 2, but there's still 34 seconds left.
If Hamilton holds on to win it, it's been a great afternoon for Paul Osbaldiston. Edmonton will take the ball on the 35, and they have 34 seconds. I'd be leaping and jumping up and down.
Oh, that pass by Ham was almost intercepted by Frank Robinson. I can't believe that lack of reaction from Dave Beckman.
Well, especially earlier in the game after Romel Andrews made a sack on Tracy Ham in front of the Tiger Cat bench. He was the first one down to congratulate him. He was jumping up and down, but he also understands who's on the other side of the football right now, and that it isn't over.
Maybe you get so tied up in knots you can't react. 2nd and 10 Eskimos from their 35. Now they still have time to get into territory for their own field goal. Ham is going to throw long for Todd Smith, and it's knocked away. Playing his first game as a Ticat, Albert Thomas makes the play. It was Keith Wright, the intended receiver, not Todd Smith. I'll correct that. 20 seconds left in the game, in the fourth quarter at least, and it'll be 3rd and 10 Eskimos.
You know, you think about it, McAreedy's got a strong leg himself. Edmonton can move this ball another 15, 20 yards and have a shot at kicking a field goal. So
fans really into it at Ivor Wynn. 3rd and 10 Eskimos from their 35. Will Ham go to Ellis? You would almost bet either that or he'll run. He throws complete to Colbert at center field, and he's to the Hamilton 51 with 13 seconds to go. Tracy Ham delivers under intense pressure, and the Eskimos will attempt to get it in just a little bit closer for Ray McAreedy. Here's Ham, the clock running down to 10 and 9. Tracy Ham can't find anybody now. Blake Marshall can't squeeze it. at the 40 as Wilkerson came in to make the play. 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Now this is a long kick if they put McAreedy in now. He does not have the leg strength that Paul Baldwin does. Eskimos don't have a timeout remaining, but the clock won't start until the snap of the ball. They have 5 seconds left. The risk they run here, Neil, and they're going to run one more play. The risk they run is using all the time.
McAreedy was doing a heck of a job trying to sell it, that he could do it from there.
Ham knows he has to deliver quickly, and he's not going to get it off. Tracy Hamdalis out of bounds, but the game is over, and the Eskimos miss their chance to take a shot at a game-winning field goal, and it would have been a long one. Joe Faragelli felt outside of Ray McAreedy's range, so he thought if they could maybe get one more play off and move it downfield a few more yards, but it didn't work out, and David Beckman has his first win as the interim head coach of the Ticats. And Hamilton is back in a third-place tie in the East with the Ottawa Rough Riders. At Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton, the Ticats snapped their losing streak, and they beat the West Division leading Edmonton Eskimos 25-23. Arm Olsen MVP, an obvious choice today. Place kicker Paul Baldwin of the Ticats, who kicked 6 field goals, the 6th one from 40 yards into the wind, and it came with 34 seconds left and gave the Ticats the victory. Paul, congratulations. You've had some big days kicking field goals. Where does this one rank?
Right now, it ranks right at the top. You know, we're struggling right now with our club, and we got a great chance of making the playoffs and still being able to get to the Grey Cup. So we really needed it, and I thought the defense did a fantastic job, and you know, the whole game, and we finally put one together, and hopefully we'll take it from there.
You seem fairly calm. You certainly weren't on that game-winning field goal. Tell me about that kick. How difficult was it?
Well, unfortunately, we had a you know, the wind at Ivor Wynne gusts around a lot, and we had a real dead calm about 30 seconds before the kick. As soon as they whistled the play, and it started gusting. So fortunately, I warmed up this way and had to aim a bit left, and then knew the ball was going to cut across to the right, and it snuck in. I was real pleased. You know, Ray Robertus and Todd Dillon did a great job all day, especially, you know, with wet balls and windy conditions, and every field goal I kicked, they were bang on, and that really helps.
So that last one wasn't right down the middle?
No, it kind of drifted across. You know, it went the way I expected it to, so, you know, we were fortunate enough to pull out the win.
Paul, the long field goals with the wind, the 56-yarder in particular, did you feel good about your chance of making that one?
Oh, definitely. You know, anytime you have the wind like that, you got to kick the ball straight up and let the wind work with you, and you know, they wouldn't let me try it if they didn't have confidence in me, and I give the coaches credit for that, and I was real pleased. You know, anytime you get out that far, you got to make sure you have distance and accuracy, and it's a tough thing to do. Usually you end up just getting one.
Now, they called their timeout just before the game-winning kick. What goes through your mind during that 30-second span?
Really anything but the kick. You know, I like to stand behind the huddle where they can't, you know, where there's no eye contact with the other team. I have a little trick of my own where I turn around and stare at the other posts, and picture myself kicking the ball through those. When you turn back, then it makes the, you know, the post you're kicking at actually bigger in your mind, and it's just a psychological thing, you know, stupid thing we go through.
Paul, the Ticats have gone through a very difficult period here with the firing of Al Bruno, David Beckman taking over. What's it been like the last couple of weeks?
Well, you know, it's unfortunate. I dearly, dearly miss Al, and I think he's a great man and a great coach. And Coach Beckman's coming in and done a real good job motivating us. And you know, something had to be done to turn around the club, and by no means was it Al Bruno's fault. It was the 36 players on the field each game, and that's a real unfortunate thing. Coach Beckman, like I said, has done a great job, and you know, we hopefully we can take it from here. Now we have to, you know, keep going on this high. I think we beat the best team in the league today, and we just got to keep going.
Did you feel good about your chances before this game? Because you're 4-9, the Eskimos are 9-4. I think most of us would look at the game and think, well, I mean, the odds are really against Hamilton. What was the feeling?
Well, you know, we played such a good second half against Toronto. We just had to tighten up a few things. This was last week. Once our defense tightened up like they did today, it was a similar game where we beat Edmonton or Winnipeg here this year. And I think that was the key. The defense kept us in the game. You know, we moved the ball into the wind in the fourth quarter when we had to. I think I only punted twice into the wind. And really, it was just a complete team effort. And we've been struggling to do that all year, is put all facets of our game together. And finally, we did it again.
Well, this should get you back on track, Paul. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Hi, Mom and Dad.
Paul Baldiston, our Molson MVP, statistically an edge to the Eskimos. 29 first downs to 15 for Hamilton, 385 net yards to 270. But Paul Baldiston was the difference in this game. His 6th field goal gives the Ticats a 25-23 upset win over the Eskimos. Saturday on CFN, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers can clinch first place in the East with a win in Toronto. But the Argos will be out to keep their first place hopes alive. If they win, they'll be only 2 points behind the Blue Bombers. Join us Saturday in the Dome for Winnipeg at Toronto on the Canadian Football Network.
CFL Priority Courier Player of the Week. The offensive player for week number 12 is Toronto's Daryl Smith. The Toronto Argos continue to shoot the lights out, with Smith pacing the well-armed artillery. The spectacular slot back had 9 receptions for 226 yards and 2 TDs during the Argos' 70-18 stampede over Calgary. It was an Argos scoring record, but look out. Smith and the Argos are gunning for more. Daryl Smith, CFL Priority Courier Offensive Player of the Week.
Well, if you have to single out a player today at Ivor Wynne, easy to pick Paul Baldiston, but not to be overlooked the play of the Hamilton Tiger Cat defense, Neil Lumsden.
Well, I don't think there's any question. When they had a chance, as you can see right here, Mark Napierkowski gets to Tracy Ham, a big sack, pushes the offense back. I look at their defense. I look how they got to the football when Tracy Ham did sprint. You're not going to shut Tracy Ham down completely. When he gets out of the pocket, he's going to make some yardage. That's a given. But what they did do is get to the ball. Pete Giftopoulos had a great football game on defense. I would say, as an individual, he was their leader. He was around the ball more than anybody else.
You know, you often hear coaches and players say if they're down at halftime by a wide margin in a game, let's go out and win the second half because it'll help us in the next game. I often wonder about that, but Paul Baldiston alluded to it. Hamilton played a good second half in Toronto last week when they lost to the Argos. Do you think it carried over a bit?
I think it did. We talked before the game started that the idea of leaving Mike Kerrigan in last week, allowing him to not mature, but to become more comfortable, to understand that when you do play poorly earlier on in the game, you're not going to get the big hook. Stay in there and make up for your mistakes. And though Kerrigan wasn't maybe as sharp as we've seen him in the past, he engineered a number of good drives. He mixed his plays up, and he did what he had to do. And then I think it goes back on the defense again. They were able to shut down the Eskimo offense. Except for that first drive when the Eskimos started the game, I think the Hamilton defense deserves most of the kudos.
Not to make any excuses for Edmonton, they've lost 2 games in a row now, but Neil, they played today without Reggie Taylor, who's a tremendous impact player on offense, without Henry the Gizmo Williams. I think we could see today that this isn't quite the same explosive Edmonton team without those 2 people.
I don't think there's any question about that, but at the same time, I think everyone can look at their own team across the CFL, be it Winnipeg, Toronto, and say, look, we've got injuries too. We are not the same team if we had had our full complement of stars or starters. So I think everyone has to deal with that at this time of year. You hope that your starters and the players, especially at the key positions like the quarterbacks, the running backs, and the receivers, are going to get healthy. You count on that, and you hope the best. But you have to deal with it. I mean, you have to have the depth in your organization to be able to go to the individuals and get them ready to play in a football game.
This win undoubtedly will give the Hamilton Tiger Cats a huge boost as they look ahead of their final 4 games of the season. It has also moved them into a tie for 3rd in the East, the 3rd and final playoff spot, with the Ottawa Rough Riders. Those 2 can forget about the teams ahead of them, and they'll probably take it down to the last week of the season in the battle for 3rd place in the East. The Western standings have tightened up. The Eskimos have now played the same number of games as Calgary, 14, and they're only 1 point ahead of the Stampeders, and the Saskatchewan Rough Riders are only 4 points behind. I remember Wally Buono telling us, Neil, a few weeks ago, because they played their last game of the season against the Eskimos. I hope that means something. We don't know if it will, but it might. It looks more like it today.
Well, he said the ideal scenario is we play them at home and let's have it for first place. Perfect situation. Whether it'll happen or not, I don't know, but it's being more competitive, the games are, as the season winds down.
So a huge win today for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who put the brakes on a 6-game losing streak. We invite you to join us for our next game on CFN, which is Saturday night, and we'll have Winnipeg at Toronto, the fight for 1st in the East. The final score here at Ivor Wynne, Hamilton 25, Edmonton 23. Bob Irving, for everybody involved, saying goodbye from Ivor Wynne Stadium. This program is protected by copyright. Any reproduction in whole or in part without the written permission of Molestar Communications is prohibited. Our coverage of Canadian professional football continues Saturday when most of you will see Winnipeg at Toronto at 7:30 Eastern Time on Molson Canadian Football Network.